You keep breaking promises to yourself when you say tomorrow and actually mean not today. A recent study published in Psychology and Health found that 65% of daily actions are driven by habits, not conscious choices. So every time you say tomorrow is training your brain to hesitate. For years, experts said the 4-minute mile wasn't possible, that the human body would break. Then Roger Bannister ran the 3:59.4 in 1954. Within 6 weeks, others did too. I've been seconds from quitting too, telling myself it was safer not to try. 5 years from now, you can still be waiting, or you can choose to act today. In the next 3 hours, you'll learn how to eliminate self-doubt, stop procrastinating, and build momentum that changes your life.
If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Believe.
You want to never doubt yourself again? Self-doubt is the silent killer of entrepreneurial dreams. If you don't conquer it now, you'll hold yourself back and watch your vision slip away. For example, Colonel Harland Sanders faced crushing doubt before founding KFC. He was over 65 years old, broke, and his chicken recipe was rejected 1,009 times. Yet he refused to quit. Finally, one restaurant gave him a chance and Kentucky Fried Chicken was born. If Sanders had given in to his self-doubt, the KFC brand wouldn't exist today. But because he persisted, he built one of the world's most famous franchises. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's great for him, but can I do it? Maybe you feel like you're not special or experienced enough. But listen, that feeling is not an objective fact. It's just fear. Every successful entrepreneur started out uncertain and afraid, just like you. The difference is they acted in spite of their self-doubt instead of letting it stop them. And now I'm going to show you how you can do the same. 5 steps to never doubt yourself again. Realize you're not alone. Self-doubt is far more common than you think. Research shows 84% of entrepreneurs have felt like frauds at some point. Even 71% of CEOs say they sometimes feel not good enough for their role. Think about that. The majority of top leaders you admire have experienced the exact same doubts that you have. So if you feel a knot in your stomach and hear that little voice saying, you can't do this, remember it happens to all of us. Self-doubt isn't a sign you're incapable, it's a sign you're pushing beyond your comfort zone, just like all great entrepreneurs. Challenge your inner critic. Start talking back to that negative voice in your head when it whispers, you're not good enough. Refuse to accept that as truth. Those feelings of inadequacy are feelings, not facts. Replace them with a positive voice. It might sound corny, but give yourself a quick pep talk. Science shows it really works. In one study, athletes who gave themselves a quick motivational pep talk performed significantly better than those who didn't. So tell yourself out loud if needed, I can figure this out. I've overcome challenges before. By affirming your strengths and progress, you rewire your brain to be on your side instead of tearing you down. Build confidence with small wins. Confidence isn't something you either have or you don't. It's something you create through action. So stop waiting for some big achievement to magically erase your doubt. Instead, start with a tiny goal you can accomplish today. Psychologists have found that the fastest way to build confidence is through mastery experiences, tackling small challenges and succeeding. Every little win gives you proof that you're capable. Did you make that tough sales call? Celebrate it. Finish your website's homepage? Own that win. Each step forward, no matter how small, is training your brain to trust you. Over time, those small wins stack up into unshakable self-belief. Get support and seek out role models. Don't try to do everything alone. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. Find a mentor, a coach, or fellow entrepreneur who encourages you and reminds you of your potential. A good mentor's belief in you is real. Research shows that when someone you respect tells you you've got what it takes, it genuinely boosts your confidence. Positive social support makes a huge difference. Also, study the stories of people you admire, especially those who started out just like you. Psychology calls it social modeling. When you see someone similar to you achieve success through effort, it inspires you to believe that you can do it too. So join an entrepreneur community, attend networking events, or even just read biographies or watch YouTube videos like this. Let their journeys show you that setbacks can be overcome and doubts can be defeated. Connect to your purpose. Find your who. One of the most powerful ways to destroy doubt is to stop making it all about you and start focusing on the people you want to serve. I'll share something personal. I'm a shy introvert who used to be afraid of being on camera. What changed for me was realizing my purpose. I want to solve the world's biggest problem, which is people not believing in themselves enough. That mission pushed me to take action even when I was scared. In other words, my purpose became bigger than my fear. Remember, humans are built to serve. Think about who your business is built to help, your customers, your family, your community, and dedicate your work to them. This is what I call finding your who. When you fix your mind on why you're doing this and who needs you to win, your self-doubt gets overshadowed by determination. Your purpose gives you courage on the days when your confidence falters. So, Ask yourself right now, who am I fighting for? Let that answer drive you through any wall of doubt. So stop doubting and start doing. You have everything you need inside you to make your dream happen. No more excuses. Now is the time to take the bet on yourself and take action. You are living on autopilot and don't even realize how much it's holding you back. Every day, unseen forces inside you quietly controlling your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your success. And if you don't take back the steering wheel, you'll continue getting the same frustrating results in your business and life over and over again. One of my subscribers, Rebecca, asked a powerful question. So if I have it correct, your subconscious program is your limiting negative beliefs and your bad habits. This hit the nail on the head. Your subconscious program, the collection of automatic thoughts and routines running in the background, is largely made up of your deeply held beliefs, many of them limiting beliefs or negative, and your ingrained habits, good or bad. And if those default programs are negative, they will sabotage your success as an entrepreneur. Think about it. If you secretly believe you're not good enough, or you habitually procrastinate on important work, how can you build the business and life that you want? You must reprogram that subconscious script, or you'll keep hitting an invisible ceiling in everything you do. The power of belief. Oprah Winfrey's story of resilience. Let me back up this bold claim with a true story. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in media, she started with every reason to have limiting beliefs. She grew up in poverty, faced abuse in childhood, even got fired from her first job as a TV news anchor at 23 with a critique from her boss that she was unfit for television. That kind of rejection would plant a limiting belief in many people. Maybe I'm not cut out for this, but Oprah refused to let someone else's negative program become her own. Oprah's unwavering determination and belief in herself propelled her forward. She didn't accept failure as her identity. Instead of giving up on her dreams, she used that setback to get better. She believed she had a unique voice and talent to share, and she doubled down on it. A few years later, Oprah got a new opportunity, a daytime talk show in Chicago. She poured her authentic self into it, connecting with audiences in a way no one else did. That show was the Oprah Winfrey Show, which became one of the highest rated TV programs of all time and made Oprah a global icon. She went from being fired and doubted to building a media empire. How? By reprogramming the situation. She replaced the limiting belief, I'm not good on TV, with an empowering one, I have a gift for connecting with people. And she replaced any habit of self-pity with the habit of perseverance. Oprah showed that your beliefs can define your future only if you let them. She chose to define her own. Her story proves that when you change the beliefs and habits in your subconscious program, you can change the results you get in life. Yeah, but I can't change who I am. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, yeah, but Evan, this is just how I am. I've always been this way. Can I really change, my subconscious programming? What if my negative beliefs are just true? What if my bad habits are just so ingrained then they're going to break me? Believe me, I hear you. It's normal to feel skeptical or to feel stuck with the hand that you have been dealt, whether it's how you were raised or your past failures or years of living with these same habits. But here is the truth. Your brain is not fixed. It is adaptable. Science clearly shows that you absolutely can rewire those mental programs at any age. Your subconscious is powerful, but you are the programmer. So if you caught yourself thinking, I can't change, that's the first limiting belief that we need to smash right now. Yes, you can change. You are not a tree, right? You're not stuck in the ground. As an entrepreneur and just as a human, you have the ability, and I'd say the responsibility, to upgrade your internal software so you can reach your potential. It won't be easy, and it's not going to be overnight, but it is possible. And in fact, it's necessary. Remember this. All of the great things that you want out of life are on the other side of what? Your fears and your limiting beliefs. I said that in an interview a few years ago, and I remind myself of it whenever I feel fear creeping in. Every time you say, yeah, but, you're putting up a wall between you and your dream. And now it's time to break through. So let's dive into the meat of this. Understanding what your subconscious program really is, how these negative beliefs and habits get installed in you, and most importantly, how to change the program to set yourself up for success. I'm gonna break this down into actionable steps and insights with some science and quotes to back it up. So it's not just me making stuff up. Let's dive in. Understanding your subconscious program. Think of your mind like an iceberg. Your conscious thoughts, the ones that you are aware of, are just the tip above the water. And your subconscious is the huge mass below the surface. That hidden part holds all your ingrained beliefs, your memories, emotions, and your learned habits. Basically, the program that runs on in the background for you. And it runs a lot of your life. In fact, research indicates that a significant portion of our daily actions and thoughts are mindless and automatic. One famous Duke University study found that more than 40% of actions people perform every day aren't actual decisions, they're just habits running on autopilot in the background. Think about that. Almost half of what you do every day is not consciously chosen, but a repeated routine that your subconscious executes. It's not just action, it's thoughts too. By some estimates, the average person's brain produces up to 50,000 thoughts per day, and a whopping 95% of those thoughts repeat daily. Your mind is literally looping the same tapes over and over. So if most of those thoughts are self-critical or defeatist, guess what? You're reinforcing the same limiting beliefs day in and day out without realizing it. As the National Science Foundation put it, you decide how you think and what becomes a can or can't. Your thoughts become your beliefs, which becomes your mindset, which fuels your actions, and that creates your reality. In other words, your life right now is largely a reflection of the subconscious programs you've been running up to this point. Now, how did those programs even get there in the first place? Many of your core beliefs were formed when you were very young. They came from your parents, they came from your teachers, they came from cultural messages, early successes or failures that you had. Your brain took notes and said, okay, this is how the world works. And those notes became beliefs. Some of those beliefs empower you, but many hold you back. So for example, I'm bad at math, or I don't deserve success, or money is evil. We call those limiting beliefs. Likewise, your habits develop through repetition. You do something enough times, consciously or not, and your brain creates a shortcut for it. It becomes easier to do that behavior without thinking. And that's great for helpful habits like brushing your teeth or responding to customer emails on time. But it's dangerous when it locks in a bad habit like doom scrolling social media whenever you're stressing or avoiding difficult phone calls that you need to make. We often don't even notice that these programs are running. It just feels like this is how I react or this is just part of my personality. But it isn't set in stone. It's a script that can be edited. And the first step is awareness. Recognize that you have a subconscious program and that it's currently filled with a mix of empowering and limiting codes. When you become aware, you can start to question which parts of that code are helping you and which ones are actually hurting you. How limiting beliefs shape your reality and how to break them. So let's talk about beliefs. A belief is just a thought that you have decided is true. Limiting beliefs are those thoughts like, I am not smart enough, I'm too old to start a business, I can't speak in front of an audience, I can't make YouTube videos, and so on, that you have just accepted as truth and that limit you. Here's the scary part. If you believe these things, you will act accordingly and they will become true. It's a self-fulfilling cycle. Henry Ford summed it up perfectly decades ago, right? Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. If your brain program says, I can't, then you won't take the actions to prove yourself wrong. You'll shy away. You will give up quickly, or you won't even try. But if your brain says, I can, you'll find a way to keep pushing until it happens. Belief is the filter through which you see opportunities or obstacles. Consider a classic example. For years, athletes believed it was physically impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes. It was a hard barrier in their mind, and so it became a hard barrier in reality. No one could break it. Then in 1954, the famous Roger Bannister came along and shattered that belief by running the mile in 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. He proved the impossible was possible. What's fascinating is that once that mental barrier broke, other runners immediately started breaking the 4-minute mile. Nothing changed in human biology overnight. The change was in the belief of what was possible. This story has been repeated often in motivational circles, but it shows that some limits are just belief-based. When you remove the limiting belief, you also remove the limit. So how do we identify and destroy your limiting beliefs? I'm going to give you some practical steps. Number 1, listen to your self-talk. Pay attention to the words you use when you talk about yourself or your goals. Are you saying things like, I always mess up, or I'm just not X enough? Those phrases are clues to a belief. As one Wharton executive coach explains, we must be mindful of the words we attach to ourselves. Your words feed your thoughts, which form your beliefs, which set your mindset, which drives your actions, and that creates your results. Catch the negative words early. Next, Question a belief. When you notice a limiting statement, ask, is this actually even true? Where's the evidence? We often treat opinions or past experience as universal truths. For example, you pitch an investor and they say no. You might internalize a belief, I'm bad at pitching. Stop and ask, really? Or did I just have one bad pitch? Often you'll find the belief is built on shaky ground. Stick to the facts. As experts say, saying my first business failed is a fact. Saying I will always fail in business is a belief, and a false one at that. Next, reframe and replace. Once you've called out a false belief, replace it with a new empowering belief that is still believable to you. This is key. You can't go from, I hate public speaking to, I am the world's greatest orator of all time, right? Your brain won't buy it. But you can say, I'm learning to get better at public speaking. Or you can say, I have valuable ideas to share, and so I can be a good public speaker if I practice. Choose a thought that challenges the negative while still feeling authentic to you. For example, Oprah didn't just go from I'm unfit for TV to I will rule TV in one day, right? First, she likely told herself, I have a different style, and that can actually connect with people. She flipped the script. As Tony Robbins famously said, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. Change the story you tell yourself, and you'll change what you get. Next, take action to reinforce a new belief. So beliefs form through experiences. So create new experiences. If you've reframed, I'm not good at networking to, I can get better at networking and I can make valuable connections, then force yourself to go act on it. Go to that event, introduce yourself to 5 new people, even if it feels uncomfortable. When you survive it and even get one positive result, your brain gets evidence, hey, maybe I can do this. Each action you take is like rewriting a line of code in your subconscious program. So let me give you a quick personal example. I used to have a big limiting belief that being an introvert means I can't be good on camera or on stage. I thought that my reserved nature was a curse in the thought leadership and entertainment space. That was my story. If I held on to that, you would not be watching this video right now. I had to rewrite that belief too. Introversion is not a weakness. I can be an introvert and still impact people by being authentic and passionate. I pushed myself to do interviews and to do speaking events, even while my hands were shaking. I still get nervous before big events that I have to speak at. I was at an event recently with some of the world's top entrepreneurs, and my old programming of anxiety kicked in. But I reminded myself, my mission is bigger than my fear. I refuse to let that old belief make decisions for me. And you know what? Every time that I step onto a stage or I hit record on the camera, it gets a little bit easier. And now I love it because I see the impact that it has. That's what I reframe it towards. Your beliefs became true because you act as if they're true. So act in accordance with empowering beliefs and they will become true. Bad habits, the autopilot loops that keep you stuck. So we've tackled beliefs. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. Habits. If beliefs are the stories in your mind, habits are the actions that you take or that you don't take day after day. And just like beliefs, habits can make or break your success. A habit is essentially a behavior that's been repeated so often that it becomes automatic to you. It's your subconscious taking over the wheel so your conscious brain can focus on something else. This is neither good nor bad on its own. It's just how our brains optimize. The problem is when your subconscious is optimizing for comfort and not for success. So for example, if every time you feel stressed about work, you automatically open up YouTube or Netflix to take a break, that's a habit. It relieves stress temporarily. You get some kind of reward, but it also kills your productivity and momentum. Or say you have a habit of micromanaging your team because deep down you don't trust others to do as good a job as you. That could be tied to a belief about control. That habit is going to limit your business's growth because you're not empowering your team. We all have some bad habits like this, and they usually run on autopilot before we even realize what we're doing. So let's understand how a habit forms. Researchers have found that every habit consists of a loop: cue to routine to reward. The cue is a trigger, a time of day, a feeling, an environmental signal that kicks off the habit. The routine is the behavior itself, which could be good or bad. And the reward is what you get from it: a feeling of relief, a sugar rush, a sense of accomplishment, etc. And over time, your brain links the cue and reward. So when the cue happens, your brain goes on autopilot, expecting the reward, and executes the routine. So for example, you have a 3 p.m. slump. Okay, what's the routine? You grab a sugary snack. What's the reward? Quick energy and pleasure. Do that often enough and it becomes a 3 p.m. cookie every day. Here's an eye-opener. Because habits are basically your brain operating on autopilot, you might be doing damaging routines while your mind is thinking of something else. Psychologist Wendy Wood noted in a study that people often perform habitual actions with little conscious thought, even thinking about other things entirely while doing the habit. So have you ever arrived at your destination while driving and realized that you were on mental autopilot the whole way? It's kind of scary, right? Now imagine that applied to your business or your personal life. You could be unconsciously sabotaging yourself through bad habits because that's just what you do every time X happens. The good news is, just as we can rewrite beliefs, we can also reprogram habits. Habits aren't destiny. You can change them, but it's not by sheer willpower or suddenly stopping. That often fails. The key, according to habit change research, is to keep the same cue and reward, but change the routine. This is often called the golden rule of habit change. For example, if stress, that's your cue, makes your routine for a cigarette, that's the routine, to get calm, that's the reward. You need to find an alternative routine when stress hits that will give you the same calm feeling. So maybe you're doing 20 push-ups or 5 minutes of deep breathing or playing a quick game or going for a quick walk. Same cue, similar reward, healthier routine. If you try to just eliminate the habit, stress hits and you tell yourself, just don't do anything. It's incredibly hard because the craving for the reward is still there. You have to swap the routine in the middle. So let's break habit change into steps which you can apply to any bad habit that is holding you back. Step number 1. Identify the habit and its impact. Clearly pinpoint what the bad habit is and how it's hurting your goals. Is it procrastination? Is it checking email first thing in the morning and that just derails your entire day and you can't be creative? Be specific. Recognize the cost. Example, this habit of X is costing me time or money or health or reputation in these specific ways. Number 2, find the cue. You need to become that detective of your own behavior. So when does this habit happen? Note the time and the place, the emotional state you're in, who's around you, what event just happened. You might discover, for example, you procrastinate on making sales calls right after you open your inbox and you see a bunch of other requests. The overwhelm is the cue that makes you seek distraction. Or you notice that you snack late at night if you skip dinner. Hunger and being tired are cues. Write down those patterns. Number 3, identify the reward. So this can be tricky, but ask, what do I get from this behavior? Every habits routine provides something your brain interprets as a reward, even if it's bad for you overall. So does scrolling through Instagram give you a mental break? Does avoiding a difficult conversation give you relief from anxiety? Does staying up late watching TV give you a sense of freedom because all day you worked at this and now you finally get your me time? Be honest about the payoff you feel because that's what's driving your brain. That's what it's craving. Number 4, swap in a new routine. Now brainstorm a replacement action that you can do when that cue pops up, which can deliver a similar type of reward. So if you crave a break to relieve stress, maybe instead of doom scrolling on your phone, just take a quick walk outside or do a 2-minute meditation. If you crave a hit of excitement in the afternoon, maybe you call a friend for a pep talk instead of grabbing a junk snack. Make a plan for what you'll do when you feel the cue. It might take a few experiments to find something satisfying. Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, shared how he broke his afternoon cookie habit by figuring out he actually just wanted to socialize, not eat. He kept the cue at 3:30 p.m. and the reward, which was fun or social break, but changed the routine. And so he'd get up and chat with a coworker for a few minutes instead of eating a cookie. The result? He lost 21 pounds as a side benefit. And number 5, automate and reinforce. The first few times you force yourself to do the new routine, it's not going to be automatic. It takes willpower. So make it easier. Adjust your environment to facilitate that new habit. So for example, if you're trying to stop checking your phone in the morning so that you can focus on a morning strategy session or something important to your mission, leave your phone in another room and keep a notebook on your bedside so you can jot down business ideas first thing. If you're breaking a bad eating habit, don't keep the junk food in the house, right? Stock steady, healthy snacks around you. Use technology if needed. Set reminders or alarms for the new habit until it becomes more natural. And celebrate those wins. When you successfully do the new routine, even if it feels small, acknowledge it. Nice, I stuck to my plan today. That positive reinforcement is a reward in itself for your brain. And remember this, focus on one major habit at a time. If you try to overhaul your entire life's routine in 1 week, you're setting yourself up for overwhelm. Start with the keystone habit that will make the biggest difference. So maybe that's your morning routine. Maybe it's your habit of daily exercise or reading or cutting out just one toxic behavior. Build momentum there and then move on to the next. Each positive habit you install crowds out a negative one that strengthens your belief that you're the kind of person who has good habits, which is a powerful, virtuous cycle. Reprogramming your mind for success. Install empowering beliefs and habits. Okay, so we've talked about removing the bad. Now let's talk about installing the good. Reprogramming your subconscious isn't just about deleting negative code. It's about writing new, empowering code in its place. So you want your autopilot working for you, not against you. So what does a positive subconscious program look like? It's made of empowering beliefs. Example, I am capable of learning anything. Every problem has a solution. I deserve success when I add value to others. My personal favorite is great things come to me. And productive habits, example, waking up on time, prioritizing your top business tasks each day, constantly learning, watching videos that inspire you, networking regularly, taking care of your health, etc. Here are some strategies to actively program these positives into your brain. Number one, start with affirmations and visualization with action. These are classic techniques and they work when used properly. So an affirmation is just a positive statement you repeat to yourself to reinforce a belief. As I said, my personal favorite is great things come to me. So for instance, if you struggle with confidence, an affirmation might be, I am confident and capable. I've overcome challenges before and I'm ready for the next one. Say it out loud. Say it in the mirror. Say it in the morning. Say it whenever you need it. It might feel silly, but remember, 95% of your thoughts are recurring. And you want this statement to recur until it sticks. Visualization means vividly imagining yourself achieving your goal or performing at your best. So athletes use this all the time. Visualizing the perfect race or shot. As an entrepreneur, visualize yourself giving that successful investor pitch, or visualize the day your company IPOs and how it would feel. Visualize the awesome YouTube videos that you're gonna make. The key is to evoke the emotions as if it was real right now. This trains your subconscious to believe this is who I am. However, I'll add, affirmations and visualization alone, they're not magic. They prepare the mind, but you still have to take the actions. Think of them as mental rehearsal. You're priming the brain. So when the moment comes, you perform better with more confidence. It's like a simulation for success. Next, surround yourself with positivity and growth. Now, you've probably heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn said that, and it's absolutely true. Your environment matters a lot. If you surround yourself with pessimistic, lazy, negative people, don't be surprised if you find your own mindset and standards slipping to match them. On the flip side, if you hang around or listen to or read about or watch videos from successful, positive, growth-oriented people, their mindset will rub off on you too. Psychology research shows we're more affected by our environment and those around us than we realize. So audit your circle. Sometimes you can't completely avoid certain family members or colleagues who are really negative people, but you can offset it by flooding in positive influences. So join entrepreneur groups or mastermind communities where people are actually supporting each other and their growth. Read biographies or watch interviews of great entrepreneurs that you look up to and leaders, and let their stories and lessons program your thinking. I do a video on this channel every day. And every morning I watch or read something inspiring to put good ideas into my head to start my day while I'm on a walk. It could be a 10-minute talk of a Tony Robbins talk or a chapter from a motivational book. But think of it like installing antivirus software in your brain. You're inoculating your mind against the negativity and doubt that's out there. Next, daily routines to prime your subconscious. So the habits that you do daily can reinforce your new program. So for example, a morning routine is super powerful. Instead of immediately checking your emails or news or doom scrolling social media, those are reactive habits that strengthen the feeling of being overwhelmed or negative. You create a morning ritual that centers you on your goals and positive thoughts. Now, this could include journaling. You write 3 things that you're grateful for. Gratitude is a great way to train your brain to see the good in things instead of only the problems around you. It could be reading your mission statement or affirmations. It could be exercising, which has been a proven way to boost mood and brain function. Planning your top priorities of the day. Even 20 to 30 minutes of a focused morning routine will dramatically change what your subconscious focuses on for the rest of the day. You'll carry an intentional mindset into your work instead of a scattered one that is all over the place. Next, leverage the power of small wins. So set yourself up to win early and win often. Our brains love progress. When you accomplish a small goal, no matter how small it is, your brain gets this little tiny hit of dopamine and it says, yes, we're moving forward. So create opportunities for that. Break your big goals into micro goals. Celebrate crossing things off your list of to-dos. This builds positive momentum and evidence for you that your new beliefs are happening. Like, see, I am effective. I can follow through. If your limiting belief was, I'm not disciplined, prove it wrong by a small act of discipline daily. Even as simple as making your bed or completing a short workout, and then mentally acknowledge or on a checklist, I followed through. I am building discipline. Those tiny confirmations done consistently rewrite the self-image in your subconscious. Next, educate your subconscious continuously. So think of your mind as a garden. You must keep planting good seeds and you must keep pulling out the weeds. Make learning a habit so you're always expanding what your mind sees as possible for you. So this can mean taking an online course where you're learning a new skill, which defeats the belief I can't learn blank. Or you go to seminars, or you regularly consume educational content like this video. The more you feed your mind with evidence of growth and success, the more it accepts as that is the norm for you. So for example, if you struggle with the belief, I'm not a good leader, start reading books or listening to podcasts or watching videos about leadership. Two things will happen. One, you'll gain practical tips. And two, you'll start to internalize the identity of a leader because you're actively pursuing it. It sends a message to your subconscious that this is important. This is who I want to become and am becoming. Next, let go of the past and forgive yourself. Part of the reprogramming is also hitting the reset on some old emotional patterns. So many of us carry guilt or regret from past failures, which feeds this negative self-talk of, I screwed up before, so I'll probably screw up again. And to move forward, you have to consciously let that go. Treat those past mistakes as lessons. Extract the lesson and then release the pain. And tell yourself, that was the old me. I've learned and I evolved. I did the best I could with what I had. Sometimes literally out loud, say, I forgive myself for XYZ. That can be powerful. You're freeing up mental space for new beliefs to take root rather than letting old memories run on loop autopilot and reinforce a limiting narrative. Finally, I want you to remember why this matters so much. As an entrepreneur, or maybe an aspiring one, your business will only grow to the level of your mindset and habits. You could have the best business plan in the world, but if your subconscious program is full of bugs and viruses, right, telling you that you're not good enough, or it's running on self-sabotaging habits, that plan will never get executed. On the other hand, if you develop an unshakable belief in yourself and back it up with consistent positive habits, there is literally no limit to what you can achieve. You become unstoppable because you'll keep going, you'll keep learning, and you'll keep bouncing back from the setbacks. Now, I wrote a book called Built to Serve, and in it I talk about how each of us have a purpose to serve others using our talents and our passions. And here's the thing, you cannot fulfill that purpose if you are chained down by negative beliefs and habits. If I didn't believe in my mission to help entrepreneurs, I would have quit a long time ago. And all these videos, all my content that have touched millions of people, it wouldn't exist. Your mission demands the best version of you. And the best version of you is hidden behind the programming that you have accumulated. It's time to update that programming to unlock who you really can be. It's time to believe in your new program. So we've covered a lot in this video. We've talked about how your subconscious program is largely made of your beliefs and habits and how those can either limit you or launch you. We looked at Oprah's story and how changing the script in your head can change the trajectory of your life. We talked about the ejection of like, I can't do that. And I hope we've convinced you that now you can because science and real examples back it up. We broke down the mechanics of beliefs and habits and how to tear down the limiting ones and build up the empowering ones. So you've gotten strategies, you've gotten the steps, and maybe even a little tough love for me along the way. Now the ball is in your court because knowing all of this isn't enough. You have to apply it. Change starts the moment you decide no more running on negative autopilot. I am going to take control of the programming. It starts with a single belief that you are capable of change and worthy of the success that will come from it. I believe in you, but what matters is you believing in you. If you've been watching this and nodding along, feeling that inner fire that, yes, I need to do this, then don't let that fire die out. Right after this video, take one small action. Even if it's writing down one limiting belief that you're going to work on, or deleting one distracting app, or scheduling that early morning wake up, something to show yourself that the shift has begun. Imagine yourself a year from now with a mind programmed for confidence, resilience, and growth. Imagine waking up excited with habits that energize you and a mindset that sees opportunity where you used to see fear. That can be you. That will be you if you commit to reprogramming your subconscious starting today. And when you do, not only will you transform your business, you'll become a beacon for those around you because positivity and success are just as contagious as negativity. You'll influence your family, your team, and your community through your example. Your subconscious mind is always listening. So speak to it with love, intention, and belief. Feed it with inspiration and knowledge. Challenge it with new experiences that force it to adapt in a positive way. Guard it from the naysayers and the dream stealers, and be patient with it because big changes come from consistent small shifts. Remember, your subconscious can be your biggest ally instead of your enemy once you train it. You have the power to do that. And carry this thought with you. The only limits that really exist are the ones in your own mind. And since you control your mind, you can break those limits whenever you decide to. So decide now, recode your beliefs, rewire your habits, and step into the life you were meant to live. It's time to embrace the new program you've written for yourself, one of optimism, determination, and excellence. And here's one more thought to burn into your new programming. You don't become what you want. You become what you believe. So believe in something great. Believe in yourself and go make it happen. Keep nurturing that subconscious, keep building those empowering habits, and never stop believing. I'm rooting for your success. Believe.
Self-confidence is the single most important skill that you must develop. You can have all the talent, the ideas, the opportunities in the world. None of it matters if you don't believe in yourself enough to use them. And if you don't build your self-confidence, you'll sabotage every opportunity, talk yourself out of your dreams, and stay stuck. Lack of confidence doesn't just hurt you, it hurts the world. The woman who would have solved cancer by now is working at McDonald's because she didn't believe in herself enough to go to med school. Let me tell you a story. In 1954, Roger Bannister did what experts said was impossible. He ran a mile in under 4 minutes. For 9 years, the world record sat at 4 minutes and 1 second. No one could break it because everyone believed it couldn't be done. Bannister refused to accept that. He trained, he visualized, he believed. And on race day, he finished in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds. Here's the craziest part. Within a year, other runners started breaking the 4-minute mile too. Nothing about human biology changed in those months, only the belief that it was possible. That's the power of self-confidence. It changes what's possible. Now, you might say, okay, but I'm no Roger Bannister. Neither am I. In fact, I started out as a shy introvert who hated being on camera. I had zero confidence on screen. It took me 350 videos before I could record a clip without completely cringing at myself. 350 videos public, and about 700 videos before I finally thought, hey, I'm actually starting to get good at this. My first year on YouTube, I got only 25 subscribers. 5 years in, I had 2,000. That was not an overnight success, but I kept going. And those hundreds of repetitions built my confidence like a muscle. I went from a guy who dreaded the spotlight to someone who can speak to millions of people. That skill was earned, not given. So I know what you're thinking right now, Evan, I'm just not a confident person. I wasn't born with it. I'm an introvert. I failed. I get imposter syndrome. This is just how I am. I hear you. And I'm going to call you out on that limiting belief. No one is born with self-confidence. You think I was? I just told you I wasn't. Every confident person you see, the speakers, the CEOs, the athletes, they all started out full of doubts and fears too. The difference is they didn't stop there. They decided to build the skill of confidence. They felt the fear and they did it anyway. So no. You don't get to cop out and say, I'm not a confident person, as if that is some permanent state for you. You become a confident person by doing the things that scare you. Even if you're shaking, even if you stutter, even if you fall on your face, especially if you fall on your face, because each time you get back up, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. So how do you do it? How do you train self-confidence like a muscle and make it unbreakable? Let's break it down step by step, and I'll show you exactly how to build unstoppable self-confidence. Confidence is a skill. The first thing to understand is that confidence is a skill. It comes from action, not wishful thinking. Think about learning how to ride a bike. You can read all the books about balance, you can watch all the tutorials, but you won't feel confident riding a bike until you actually get on the bike and you pedal. Self-confidence works the same way. You have to actually do the thing. You gain confidence through doing. Every action you take, even if it's small, is like a rep in the gym for your confidence muscle. Start with small wins. Science actually proves this. When you achieve even a minor goal, your brain releases dopamine, which makes you feel good and motivates you to take on more. Those small victories literally chemically boost your confidence and your resilience. So set yourself up to win daily. It could be as simple as getting up on time, making that one phone call that you've been avoiding, or hitting a short workout. Don't dismiss these little goals. Celebrate them. Each small win is proof to yourself, I can do this. And your brain says, great. What's next? You're building a positive feedback loop. Success leads to confidence, leads to more action, leads to more success. So, for example, if you're terrified of public speaking, start by presenting to a few friends, or even just making a short video for yourself, whether you post it on YouTube or not. When you finish it, no matter how it went, acknowledge that win because you did it. That's a rep. Next time, it will be a little easier. Remember, confidence isn't, I know I'll succeed. Confidence is, I'll be okay even if I fail and I'll learn from it. You build confidence by embracing failure. That brings me to the next point. You build confidence by embracing failure, not avoiding it. Most people think confident people are unafraid of failing. Nope, they're just as afraid. They just don't let it stop them. They understand that failure, it's part of the process. I like to say, if you try and it works out, awesome. You now have a success under your belt and proof that you can go do more. But if it doesn't work out, also awesome. You survived, you learned, and now you know that you can handle more than you thought before. Either way, you win. When I was 19, I hit one of the biggest failures in my life up to that point. My first business was struggling and I felt like a complete loser. I was making $300 a month. I was too embarrassed to tell my friends how badly it was going. I literally told my business partner, I quit. I feel worthless. Imagine that. My whole identity was Evan, the entrepreneur. And here I was quitting because I had no confidence that we could make it. And that night, I felt like my dream died. But the next morning, I woke up and something in me said, not yet. Try one more thing. There has to be a way. And I decided to study Bill Gates and how did he build Microsoft? Because I needed a model of success. I discovered that Microsoft grew through partnerships. So I tried reaching out to potential partners for our company. And it worked. We landed a deal that paid us $13,500, which at the time, to me, felt like $1 million compared to $300 a month. More importantly, it proved my business could work. And that single win transformed my confidence. I went from wanting to quit to thinking, maybe I can do this. Notice, nothing changed about who I was. It didn't magically become smarter overnight. I simply found the strategy that worked and I took action on it. Action breeds confidence. So the lesson, turn your failures into research. Each failure is telling you, this approach, it didn't work. Try something else. So instead of I failed, I suck, it's I failed, I learned. Let's adjust and let's go again. When you adopt that mindset, failure, it loses the fangs, it loses its poison. It's no longer this final judgment on you that you suck. It's just a data point. You remain confident because you know it's just part of the game, not the end of the game. As an entrepreneur, expect that most things you try will not work the first time, and that is okay. Your confidence grows when you realize you can fail and still be okay. You can still figure it out and keep moving forward. Manage your environment. Now, while you're racking up those small wins and learning from your losses, there's something else that you must do. Manage your environment. Confidence is contagious. So surround yourself with people and inputs that build you up. This is huge. If you're constantly around naysayers who tear you down, it's like trying to climb with a monkey on your back. It's so much harder than it needs to be. Now, I was lucky. My mom planted the seeds of confidence in me from a very young age. She used to tell me, Evan, you can do anything you believe that you can. I wasn't a straight A student. I got B's and C's, and becoming an entrepreneur certainly wasn't the safe path. But hearing you can do it again and again from someone who believed in me, that was everything. And her voice became my voice. When I faced big decisions, I could hear her. You're Evan Castrilli Carmichael. Of course you can do it. Not everyone gets that kind of support from their family. I get it. But you can choose to create a supportive environment right now. Go find your tribe, even if it's just one person to start, who believes in you, who pushes you. It could be a mentor, a friend, a fellow entrepreneur, or even an online community. Hey, Believe Nation is here for you. When you can't find the confidence inside yourself, you need people who will lend you some of theirs. There's a famous principle in psychology about verbal persuasion. Encouragement from others can boost your self-belief, especially when it comes from someone that you trust. So don't be too proud to seek encouragement or accountability. Ask a friend to remind you of your strengths. Hire a coach. Join a mastermind. It's not a weakness. It's strategy. Even I do this. I still intentionally surround myself with positive voices every day. I say I like to collect good people. You know what I do every morning? I listen to powerful messages from people like Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey, my virtual mentors. Basically, I have them whispering in my ear via YouTube. I curate my environment to force feed my self-belief. Why? Because I'm human. I have doubts. I have low moments too. But when I hear Steve Jobs say something inspiring to me in the morning, suddenly my brain goes, let's go. Time to do something amazing. You can do the same. Protect your environment. Reduce the time you spend with people who make you feel small or insecure, and increase time with those who uplift you with inspiring content that motivates you. And over time, those positive voices become your own. Do the hard things on purpose. So let's talk about another powerful strategy to build your confidence. Do the hard things on purpose. Most people shy away from discomfort. I want you to seek it out in small ways. This is one of my weird little hacks. I actually keep a big unopened bag of Doritos behind me. You can see it behind me on the wall here. I'm not kidding. It's there at all times. Why? Because it tempts me, because I love Doritos. And conventional advice says remove the temptations from your environment, but I do the opposite. I keep the temptation in front of me as a training tool. I'm drooling right now thinking about it. Every day I see that bag, I get that urge, and then I prove to myself that I'm stronger than a craving. Damn the Doritos. I don't open it. I don't eat one chip. And guess what? The high I get from winning that tiny battle is actually incredible. It's not about the chips. It's about training self-discipline and proving to myself that I control me. It's my daily reminder that I'm awesome for not eating them. It builds self-respect, which in turn builds self-confidence. Because I can say no to Doritos, what else can I do? Maybe I can say no to distractions when I need to focus. Maybe I can do one more rep when I want to quit. It becomes a domino effect for your confidence. Now, you don't have to use junk food like me. I'm a weird duck, I know, but find your own small way to challenge yourself daily. Take a cold shower in the morning. Do that one task that you've been procrastinating on for weeks. Speak up in a meeting, even if your voice shakes a little bit. These little acts of courage compound over time. You're training your brain with evidence. I do tough things. I can handle it. Confidence is earned through challenge, not through comfort. Remember too, the confidence is not the same as arrogance. Arrogance is thinking that you're already perfect and better than others. Confidence is knowing you can improve and achieve what you set your mind to. It's a big difference. In fact, truly confident people are usually the most humble because they're not scared of admitting what they don't know. They have the confidence to say, I don't have the answer, but I'll find out. So if one of your objections has been, well, I don't want to be too cocky, drop that. Working on your confidence is about service. The more confidence you have, the more you can serve others with your business, with your art, with your message. Think about it. If I was too insecure to make these videos, I wouldn't be here helping right now. I had to get over myself to be able to serve. And you developing confidence will help you make the impact that you're capable of too. Confidence is a journey. Understand that confidence is a journey, not a destination. Even after you become a more confident person, you'll find new levels of challenges that test you, and that's normal. Every time you grow, you'll feel like a bit of a newbie again. Even the greats feel this. I've met millionaires and industry titans who privately admit they still wrestle with self-doubt. Can I do it again? Was I just lucky? Imposter syndrome can hit anyone. The key is when those thoughts come, you don't let them take the wheel of your life. You acknowledge them and you keep moving. One of my favorite mindsets is you might not fully believe in yourself yet, but you can believe in your ability to figure it out. You trust in your resourcefulness. That's enough to take the next step. And with each step, your confidence catches up a little more. So I want to acknowledge you for watching this video today, for caring enough about your growth to be here. Most people won't even take that step, and you did. And that shows that you're serious about becoming the person that you are meant to be. Keep going, keep believing, and every time you step up and bet on yourself, you're not only changing your world, you might just change the world. You've got this. Now go show yourself what you're made of.
Do you feel like time is slipping away from you? Like each day flies faster and you haven't made the progress that you're hoping for? You're not alone in feeling that urgency. As you get older, it often seems like the weeks and months speed up. In fact, psychologists have found that our experience of time is highly flexible. When life is routine and nothing new happens, our perception of time accelerates. On the other hand, remember how slow summers felt when you were a kid? That's because everything was new and exciting back then. Now, days can blur together in a blink. It's scary when you realize that yesterday's plans are still waiting and the clock keeps ticking. But here's the good news. You can take back control of your time starting right now. This video is going to show you how to stop feeling like life is passing you by and how to start making every second count. Okay, so let's first understand why you feel like time is racing ahead. Ever notice that each year seems a bit shorter than the last? You're not imagining it. There's a concept that as you age, each year is a smaller fraction of your life. For a 50-year-old, a year is only 2% of their life. But for a 5-year-old, a year is 20% of their life. No wonder a summer felt endless when you were 5, and now a whole year can go by in what feels like a few months. Additionally, as we grow older, we tend to settle into routines. We drive the same routes, we see the same faces, handle similar tasks each day. Fewer new experiences means our brains process less novel information, which literally makes time feel like it's passing faster. It's like life goes into fast forward when every day is the same script. Now, modern life doesn't help either. You probably have a packed schedule, meetings, emails, errands, endless to-dos. When you're busy all the time, it creates an illusion that time is just passing by uncontrollably. And then there are the distractions. Oh boy, the distractions. Think about how easily an hour or 3 slips away when you scroll on your phone or binge on Netflix. The average person now spends over 5 hours a day on their phone. 5 hours! That ends up to about 2.5 months every year lost to a little screen in your hand. No wonder you fear time is being wasted, because in many cases it is. We live in an age of what one researcher calls a motivationally toxic environment, where constant notifications and digital entertainment make it so easy to put off important work. You go to check one message and suddenly an hour vanishes. Another reason time feels like it's slipping is what some call time sickness, that anxious sense that you're always behind, always racing against the clock. It comes from trying to cram too much into your day and from the pressure to be productive every single moment. Our culture glorifies being busy as if a full calendar equals a full life. But being busy is not the same as being effective. You can fill every minute with tasks and still feel unfulfilled if those tasks aren't moving you towards what you truly want. So if you're feeling this way, recognize that it's not just you. There are real psychological and societal factors at play here. Time does fly when you live on autopilot or overload. But here's the thing. Now that you can see why time slips away, you can start to fight back. It starts with a mindset shift, truly valuing your time as your most precious resource. You've heard the saying, life is short. It might sound cliche, but it's a powerful truth to let sink in. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. That line comes from Steve Jobs, and he was a man who deeply understood the value of time. He famously said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." Now, that might sound a bit intense, but think about it. When you remember that your days are finite, it cuts through a lot of the noise, the petty worries, the trivial distractions, the things we do just to please others. Those fall away. What remains are the things that truly matter to you. So take a moment and imagine yourself many years from now, looking back on today. What would your older self wish you had spent more time on? Chances are the answer isn't more time on Twitter or more time watching random TV. In palliative care, this is care for people at the end of their lives, the common themes emerge when patients talk about regrets. According to Bronnie Ware, a nurse who recorded the top regrets of the dying, the number one regret her patient's voice was, "I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me." They realized too late that so many dreams went unfulfilled because they lived according to others' expectations or society's script. The number two regret was, "I wish I hadn't worked so hard." Almost every male patient she nursed said this, explaining that they missed their children's youth and their partner's companionship because of work. Now, nobody's saying work isn't important. You and I both know how hard work is often necessary, but no one looks back and treasures the memory of that one extra email they sent at 11 p.m. They treasure time spent on things that mattered. Family, passions, and making a difference. Let that sink in. These are real people's final thoughts when all their time was almost up. It's a wake-up call. You still have time. You get to choose how to use it going forward so you don't share those same regrets. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. Every day you wake up is a new chance to align your life with what truly matters to you. So ask yourself, what matters most in your life? What do you truly want to accomplish or experience so that if time were up, you'd feel at peace with how you lived? It could be building your business to make a positive impact. It could be providing a great life for your family. It could be creating art. It could be uplifting your community. It's likely a combination of a few big things. Identify your top priorities, your personal and professional missions. Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to make each day count. Why? because you can filter your time. When you know these are my priorities, you can measure every activity against them. You can ask, is this thing that I'm about to do moving me closer to my most important goals or giving me joy, or is it just consuming my time? One of my favorite quotes from author Stephen Covey is, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. In other words, don't just react to whatever is demanding your time. Emails, meetings, random chores, and then squeeze in the good stuff if there's room. Flip that. Put your important things on the calendar first. Actually block out time for them like they're your most crucial appointments, because they are. Here's a practical example. If you're writing a book or coding your startup or designing a product that is important to you, set aside a sacred time each day or each week to work on it. Treat that like an unmissable meeting, because if you don't deliberately allocate time for your priorities, other people and miscellaneous tasks will consume your entire day. As the saying goes, if you don't take control of your time, someone else will. Protect it fiercely. Billionaire investor Warren Buffett, for instance, is extremely protective of his schedule. Bill Gates once learned from Buffett the importance of not filling up every minute. Buffett showed him his calendar, and many days were blank. Buffett keeps lots of free time to think and focus on what's important, and he famously said, I can buy anything I want, basically, but I can't buy time. Time is the one currency even the richest person on earth can't purchase more of. Buffett values his time so much that he'd rather have an empty day than let other people's agendas fill it up. That's a powerful lesson. Value your time, and don't be afraid to say no to things that are not a priority. So step one in making time count is getting very clear on your purpose and your priorities. Know your why. As philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche says, he who has a why to live by can bear almost anyhow. When you have a strong why, you become immensely motivated to not squander time. Suddenly, those distractions and trivial tasks start to look like thieves stealing your dream, and you'll feel more naturally inclined to shoo them away. And here's something fascinating. Having a sense of purpose, it's not just motivational, it's actually good for your health and longevity. Research shows that people with the highest sense of purpose have a significantly reduced risk of death. One study found up to a 46% lower risk of mortality for those living with strong purpose. They also tend to have healthier lifestyles and even better sleep and cognitive function. Think about that. Knowing what you're here to do and focusing on it can literally help you live longer and better. It's as if your body and mind reward you for living meaningfully. So take a deep breath. Time may be flying, but you are the pilot. Get clear on your destination, your purpose. Chart your course, that's your priorities, and you'll find it much easier to navigate each day meaningfully. And now that you've set your compass, let's talk about the day-to-day tactics of steering the ship. Practical time management strategies to ensure that your precious hours are being used effectively. All right, you know what truly matters to you now, but how do you translate that into your daily schedule? Entrepreneurs often juggle dozens of responsibilities, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. Time management isn't about squeezing 50 tasks into a day. It's about doing the right things in the time that you have. It's making sure your hours are spent on activities that align with your goals, energize you, and move you forward, rather than on busy work that leaves you drained with little to show for it. Let's go over some proven time management strategies to help you work smarter. Number one is prioritize high-impact tasks, the 80-20 rule. There's a principle called the Pareto principle, which states that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of activities. So in your business or your work, there are likely a few key tasks that create most of the value. Find those and do them first, or give them the most attention. Each morning, identify your top 2 to 3 most important tasks, sometimes called MITs. These are tasks that, if done, will make you feel accomplished and actually push you towards your big goals. Focus on completing those before you dive into less crucial stuff. As Brian Tracy, friend of the channel, famously put, if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first. That colorful metaphor means do your hardest, most important task first thing in the day, when your energy and willpower are highest. After that, everything else feels easier by comparison. And if you procrastinate on the important stuff by doing a dozen tiny, less important tasks, like organizing your desk or answering non-urgent emails, you might excel at those minor things, but it's a false victory. Remember the quote, one of the very worst uses of time is to do something very well that need not be done at all. Don't major in minor things. Prioritize what truly moves the needle. Next is time blocking. This is the technique where you schedule blocks of time for specific tasks or type of work. Instead of a vague list that you'll get to eventually, you assign 9 to 10 a.m. for task A, 10 to 11:30 for task B, and so on. This creates a sense of urgency and structure. When it's 9 a.m., you know exactly what you should be doing. And equally important, you'll give yourself permission to ignore everything else during that block. You can even block off time for strategic thinking, for learning, or as we said, your personal priority projects. Treat these blocks like appointments with your future success. And when the time comes, focus solely on that one block's task. Next, single tasks, don't multitask. It's tempting to think you can juggle multiple things at once. Respond to emails while on a Zoom call, or bounce between writing a proposal and checking text messages. But multitasking is a myth. What you're really doing is task switching, and it comes with a heavy cost. Research shows that even brief mental blocks from switching tasks can cost as much as 40% of your productive time. Imagine losing almost half your workday to inefficiency just because you kept toggling between tasks. Ouch. Even a 3-second distraction, say a phone notification that you can glance at, can double the errors you make on the task at hand. So do yourself a favor. When you block time for a task, eliminate distractions and concentrate on that one thing. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb or in another room. Close any unnecessary browser tabs. If you're working on an important document, shut down email for an hour. It's amazing how much faster and better you work when your brain can fully dive into one thing at a time. You'll get more done in 2 hours of focused work than in 4 hours of fractured, interruption-filled work. Next, use deadlines and Parkinson's law. Have you ever noticed that if you give yourself all day to do something, it often takes all day? But if you have only an hour, sometimes you get it done in an hour. This is Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Use this to your advantage by setting tighter deadlines for yourself. Challenge yourself with time limits. I'll finish writing this report in the next 2 hours. You'll be surprised how focused you become knowing that the clock is ticking. Now, obviously, be realistic. Don't give a 5-hour task a 30-minute window, but do slightly tighten the time frame. A bit of healthy pressure can keep you moving and prevent procrastination. Also, batch similar tasks together and for a time limit. For example, instead of checking email 50 times a day, maybe you decide you'll process email at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. for 30 minutes each. That containment frees up the rest of the day for deeper work. Next, schedule breaks and renewal. This might sound counterintuitive in a time management section, but scheduling breaks is crucial. If you just grind nonstop, your productivity and creativity will drop. Techniques like the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break and then repeat, they exist because our brain needs a short rest. Taking a 5-minute walk or stretching each hour can actually help you get more done when you return, compared to slogging through with dwindling concentration. And bigger picture, make sure you're allocating time for sleep and exercise and family or personal time. These are not wastes of time. They recharge you so the hours you work are far more effective. Burnout is the real time waster, because if you burn out, you become far less productive than if you had balanced your time. So include breaks, days off, vacation time when you're planning. Remember, the goal is not to be busy 24/7. The goal is to use your hours wisely and sustainably. Next, learn to say no and guard your time. For many entrepreneurs and ambitious people, the hardest word is no. You might get a lot of requests for meetings, for collaborations, for a quick call, or even social events that you're not really keen on going to. Every time you say yes to something, you are in effect saying no to something else, because your time is finite. So start viewing your time as incredibly valuable, because it is, and practice the art of polite refusal. If a request or task doesn't align with your priorities or is not truly necessary, it's okay to decline or to delegate it. This is what we learned from Buffett's example. You don't have to please everyone. Your primary responsibility is to allocate your time to what matters most. A simple rule is this: if it's not a heck yes, it's probably a no. Of course, use your judgment. There are some things we all must do, but you get the idea. Freeing yourself from unnecessary commitments opens up more space for meaningful work, and also for relaxation, which is also meaningful. Finally, remember that time management is a skill. You won't be perfect at it overnight. It's about trying strategies, finding what fits your life, and continuously adjusting. But even small improvements in how you manage your day can yield big results. For example, if you reclaim just 1 hour a day that was previously wasted, that's 365 hours a year you can redirect towards your goals or loved ones. That's equivalent to over 9 40-hour work weeks. Small hinges can swing big doors. Now, even with great time management, there's a familiar enemy that can creep in and steal time from all of us: procrastination. So let's address it head on, because mastering your time isn't just about scheduling, it's also about overcoming the internal resistance that stops you from using your time well. Let's be honest, knowing how to manage your time is one thing, but doing it is another. You might plan your day perfectly and still find yourself at 3 p.m. having made zero progress on the important projects you meant to tackle. Why? Procrastination. It's that little voice that says, we can do this later. Let's scroll a little bit. You deserve a break. We'll start fresh tomorrow. Sound familiar? Don't beat yourself up. Virtually everyone procrastinates. Studies indicate that about 95% of people admit to procrastinating at least occasionally. So you're definitely not alone. But just because it's common doesn't mean you should let it rule your life. First, understand that procrastination isn't just a time management issue, it's often an emotional issue. We usually procrastinate to avoid something, typically an uncomfortable emotion or fear associated with a task. It could be a fear of failure. What if I do my best and it's not good enough? Or a fear of complexity. I don't even know where to start. It's overwhelming. Or even a fear of success. If this goes well, people will expect more of me. Sometimes it's simply that the task is boring or unpleasant, so we dodge it to seek a bit of instant gratification. Hello, Netflix. Hello, YouTube, my old friend. As one insightful article titled, "You're Not Lazy, You're Scared," procrastination is often rooted in the fear of feeling overwhelmed. Recognizing this can help you address the real problem. Ask yourself, why am I avoiding this task? What am I feeling? If it's fear of failure, remind yourself that no one gets it perfect on the first try, and that doing it poorly is better than not doing it at all. Because you can always improve the draft, but you can't fix a blank page. If it's feeling overwhelming, the cue is to break the task into smaller steps, less scary steps. One powerful psychological phenomenon to exploit is the Zeigarnik effect, which in plain terms is our mind's tendency to nag us about unfinished tasks. Ever notice how once you start something, it kind of hangs in your head until you finish it? You can use this to beat procrastination by just starting, even in a tiny way. Tell yourself you'll just do 5 minutes of the task. For example, if you need to write a report and you've been avoiding it, commit to writing just the opening sentence or just outline the first bullet point. Literally 5 minutes. What happens? You may find that after 5 minutes, you've gained a bit of momentum and you want to keep going. That's a Zeigarnik effect nudging you. Even if you truly stop, after 5 minutes, your brain will keep thinking about it in the background. It'll say, hey, we started that. We should finish. Starting is often the hardest part. Once you push through the start, the task becomes easier to continue. As one organizational psychologist explained, when we start a task, even in a small way, our brain stays engaged, making us more likely to finish. The unfinished work creates a mental tension that keeps pulling us back in. In short, begin, and the rest will follow. Here's another technique. Make it easier to start and harder to procrastinate. For instance, if you find yourself procrastinating due to distractions, engineer your environment. Need to write? Shut off the internet or use a distraction blocking app for a set time. Keep your phone out of reach when you work. Maybe put it in another room. If you procrastinate exercising in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before so the cue is right there and the friction is low. Sometimes simply setting a timer for 10 minutes and saying, I'll work on this until the timer goes off is enough to get you going. Often you won't want to stop once you have started. Also, reward yourself for doing the hard things. Our brains respond to incentives. If you're procrastinating on doing your sales calls, promise yourself a small reward after completing them. Maybe a nice coffee break or 15 minutes of a favorite podcast. Even just the satisfaction of ticking something off a list is a reward. Don't underestimate the power of checking a box. It releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical. On the flip side, you can make procrastination uncomfortable by imagining the consequences of not acting. Sometimes asking, what pain will I face if I keep putting this off, can jolt you. For example, if I keep procrastinating on launching my product, a year from now, I'll still be stuck in the same spot. Or worse, someone else might bring a similar idea to market first. Connecting procrastination to potential loss of something you care about can push you to act. Here's a quote that always shakes me up in a good way. Pablo Picasso said, only put off until tomorrow what you are willing to die having left undone. Wow. In other words, if you're okay never doing it in your lifetime, then sure, postpone it. But if not, then why on earth would you delay it? Every time you procrastinate on something truly important to you, you're gambling that you'll still get another chance to do it later. That's a risky gamble. When I first heard that quote, it made me reconsider my own procrastination habits immediately. It might do the same for you. Now, I want to point out, overcoming procrastination doesn't mean you never relax or goof off. It simply means you choose when to relax instead of unconsciously avoiding tasks and then feeling guilty. It's much more satisfying to relax after you've done something meaningful. So I'm not saying work like a machine with no fun. I'm saying do the important things first, and then you can fully enjoy guilt-free leisure because you know you earned it and your life is on track. Also, remember that procrastination often feeds on itself. When you procrastinate, things pile up, you get more overwhelmed, and then you procrastinate even more. It becomes a vicious cycle. But the opposite is also true. Once you start taking action, even small, tiny actions, you build momentum. You start to identify as a person who handles things promptly. That positive identity can reinforce further action. Each time you beat procrastination, you celebrate it. Yes, I made that call I was dreading, and it wasn't even that bad. I'm the kind of person who tackles tough tasks. Over time, you can actually rewire your habits and mindset to where procrastination becomes less and less of an issue. So to summarize, start before you're ready. Motivation often comes after you start, not before. Break tasks down and just do a little. Eliminate distractions, use rewards, and keep your big picture in your mind. You have big dreams and plans. Don't let procrastination rob you of another day. As the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant it is today. So plant those seeds now. With your purpose clear, your time management sharpened, and procrastination under control, there's one more piece to the puzzle. Creating systems and habits that make productivity and progress almost automatic. Let's dive into that next, because willpower alone won't carry you every day, but good habits will. Motivation can come and go. Some mornings you'll feel fired up, other days you might feel like staying in bed. That's normal. We're humans, not robots. This is why relying purely on willpower or mood to get things done is a risky strategy. A smarter approach is to build systems and habits that keep you on track even when you don't feel like it. As author James Clear says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. In other words, you can have lofty goals, but it's your daily routines and environment that ultimately determine whether you reach them. So let's ensure your systems are set up for success. First, understand the power of habit. A large chunk of what you do every day is out of habit, not conscious decision. Researchers at Duke University found that over 40% of our daily actions are habitual routines, not deliberate choices. Think about it. From the way you brush your teeth, to your morning coffee, to checking your email after lunch, these are behaviors that you just slide into. The beauty is, if you intentionally develop good habits, they run on autopilot too and carry you forward without exhausting your mental energy. It's like putting parts of your life on cruise control towards your goals. So how do you build a strong habit? One key is to make it easy to start and satisfying to finish. Cue and reward, as habit research shows. For example, if you want to habitually work out every morning, lay out your exercise clothes by your bed. That's an easy cue. And maybe have a protein smoothie you enjoy right after. That's the reward. If you want to read more, say you want to finish a book every week, set a specific time, like after dinner, for 20 minutes of reading, and make it a cozy ritual. Same spot, get your cup of tea ready. Start small. It's better to start with 10 minutes a day of writing for your blog, for instance, and succeed at that consistently than to tell yourself, I will write for 2 hours every day, and then burn out in a week. Once a small habit is established, you can gradually expand it. The consistency is more important than intensity at first. Here's another tip. Stack new habits onto existing ones. This is called habit stacking. For instance, if you always have coffee in the morning, you could decide that right after you pour your coffee, you'll spend 5 minutes reviewing your top priorities for the day. The coffee routine becomes a trigger for your planning habit. Or if you wind down each evening, you could stack a habit of laying out tomorrow's to-do list or tidying your workspace so you start fresh the next day. Tying actions together like this makes it more likely the new habit will stick because it's anchored to something you're already reliably doing. We should also talk about systems beyond personal habits. These are like the workflows or processes that you set up for yourself or your business. For example, having a system for how do you handle email, maybe filters or specific times to check, is a part of a time management system. Or using project management tools or calendars effectively can be a system. The goal is to minimize chaos and decision making. Every decision, should I do X now or Y now, takes energy and time. Good systems pre-make those decisions. Your morning routine is a system. It pre-decides that, say, from 7 to 8, you exercise, you shower, and then you review your plan. You don't waste energy debating with yourself each day. You just follow the routine. This frees up mental bandwidth for more important creative or strategic thinking. One legendary example of system thinking is how some people like Steve Jobs wore the same style of clothes every day. Not because fashion isn't fun, but to reduce decision fatigue so they could put their brain power elsewhere. You don't necessarily need to go that far. I like it, but it shows the principle. Simplify and automate where you can. If you find yourself repeatedly doing something that's not a good use of time, ask, can I systemize this or make it a habit or even delegate it to someone or an app? Many entrepreneurs get a huge boost by delegating small tasks like bookkeeping or scheduling to an assistant or using software automation, which frees up their time for more high-value work. That's part of building a supportive system around you. Now, let me emphasize the compounding effects of habits and small actions over time. Because initially, doing a small action like writing 200 words a day for your book might not feel like it's very much, but compounded over time, it's huge. If you improve just 1% each day, a tiny amount, it doesn't feel significant day to day, but over a year, that's an approximately 37 times improvement. Thanks to compounding. Conversely, getting 1% worse each day with little bad habits, little time wasters accumulating can nearly bring you down to zero over time. It's just like money compounding interest. Your habits compound for or against you. So let's visualize that quickly. Here's a simple graph illustrating the impact of getting 1% better or 1% worse each day for 1 year. If you improve by just 1% every day, by the end of the year, you'll be about 37 times better. That's the green curve in highlight than when you started. But if you get 1% worse each day, perhaps by letting time slip into unproductive habits, after 1 year, you'd virtually hit zero, which is the red curve. The difference is staggering. This shows how small daily choices add up dramatically over time. So never underestimate the value of those little positive habits you're building. And conversely, being mindful of small bad habits like consistently wasting the first hour of your day on social media, because they add up too. The takeaway? Design your days as much as possible to run on positive routines. Make it so that it would actually be harder to not do the things that advance your goals. For example, if every day at 9 a.m. you have a habit of working on your most important project, after a while, it will feel odd to not do it. You'll feel off if you skip it. That's when that habit is really set. Athletes reach a point when not working out feels wrong to them. Writers feel weird if they don't write for their scheduled session. This is what we want to achieve for you. It creates consistency, and consistency yields results. One more thing on systems. They should evolve. Regularly audit your own routines and productivity. What's working? What isn't? Maybe you discover you work better in the evening than morning. Adjust your schedule to leverage that. Or you find a certain habit isn't sticking because the cue or reward isn't right. Tweak it. Treat it like an experiment. The goal is always to create an environment, both physical and mental, that pulls you toward the right actions rather than you constantly having to push yourself. So to recap, habits and systems are your foundation. Motivation might get you started, but your habit will keep you going. By automating the right behaviors through habits and organizing your workflow through smart systems, you make success much more likely and automatic. You'll use your willpower and brain power where it really counts on the creative and strategic decisions, while your systems take care of the logistics and your habits take care of the daily grind. You've made it this far, which tells me something about you. You care about making the most out of your time. You don't want to look back with regret or feel life slipping away unfulfilled. And you absolutely don't have to. The power to change is in your hands, starting today, in this very moment. We've covered a lot, understanding why time feels like it speeds up and how to slow it down with new experiences and mindfulness. Recognizing the preciousness of your time on this planet and using that as motivation to focus on what matters. Getting clear on what your purpose and your priorities are so you can say no to the unimportant and yes to the life that you actually want. Practical time management tactics to structure your day, avoid multitasking, and work effectively. Strategies to beat procrastination, that thief of your time, by just starting, breaking things down, and remembering that tomorrow isn't promised, so we act today, and building strong systems and habits so that making progress becomes your daily default mode. That's a lot of knowledge. But listen, knowledge alone won't change your life. Action will. Now it's on you to implement these ideas. Start small if you need to, but start. Start tonight. Take 10 minutes to plan tomorrow's schedule with your number one priority blocked in. Or when you finish watching this video, finally tackle that task you've been avoiding, even if you do just one piece of it. Decide on one habit you want to form this month and begin it. You have the tools, use them. And remember, this is not about perfection. You will have days that you get derailed. You will occasionally slip into procrastination or waste some time, and that's okay. Forgive yourself quickly and get back on track the next day. The goal is overall direction, not an impossible standard. If you continuously steer yourself towards your priorities day after day, you'll be amazed at where you are in a year, 5 years, 10 years. The results will compound as we showed. Imagine yourself in the future. A year from now, looking back on this moment, you could be saying, I'm so glad I started when I did. I've accomplished more in the last year than I thought was possible, and I feel in control of my time and my life. How great would that be? That future you is counting on you to make the right choices now. You have the same 24 hours in a day as every successful entrepreneur, inventor, or leader out there. The difference is not time itself, it's how you use it. And now you have some of the strategies and mindset shifts that those successful people use to maximize their time. They face the same temptations of procrastination, the same onslaught of distractions, but with purpose, discipline, and systems, they overcame them, and so can you. Don't wait for someday to get serious about your life's time. Today is the day to start implementing these changes. Even right now, as you finish this video, you can take one concrete step, however small, to invest in your time wisely. It could be as simple as turning off your phone for an hour to focus on a task, or as bold as finally scheduling that project you've delayed for months. Your life is happening now, not later. So step into the driver's seat. Yes, time will keep moving. That's what it does, but you can move with it consciously and proactively, shaping it to your advantage rather than fighting or lamenting it. When you do that, an amazing thing happens. That awful feeling that time is slipping away begins to fade, replaced by a sense of empowerment. You'll end more days thinking, I lived today well. I moved forward. I spent time on things that matter. And that is one of the best feelings in the world. The secret to not letting time slip away is simple. Be present, be purposeful, and be proactive. Value your time like the treasure it is, because once a moment is gone, it's gone. But you can fill each moment with something meaningful, whether it's work towards your dream or genuine rest or love shared with others. That's up to you. So stand tall and take charge. Your future is shaped by what you do right now, this hour, this day. Don't let your dreams sit on the shelf until later. Later is an illusion. Now is real. Use now. Commit to making each day count. Even if you stumble, you'll still be miles ahead of where you'd be if you did nothing. Your time is your life, and you deserve to live it to the fullest. No more feeling helpless as the days go by. From today forward, you're going to seize your time, protect it, and make it work for you and your goals. So go ahead and make the changes you need to make. You've got this. And if you feel like time is slipping away, you now have the power to grab hold of it and direct it where you want to go. Start now and keep going, because before you know it, you'll look back and be so proud of the life that you've designed. It's your time. Make it count and make it amazing. Believe. Your beliefs dictate whether you succeed or fail. As entrepreneurs, the biggest obstacles aren't market conditions or competition. It's the story you tell yourself about what is possible. One of our Believe Nation community members, Bertie Anumas, asked, is there a simple way to stop these beliefs that do not serve us? This question matters because if you don't fix your limiting beliefs right now, they will keep sabotaging your business and your life, stealing your dreams and potential. The belief that almost made me quit. Here's my story. So let me share a quick true story. When I was 19 at my first company, I was working every single day, but I was making $300 a month to show for it. I felt like a complete failure. I believed I wasn't good enough to be an entrepreneur, and that belief was crushing me. One night, I hit my breaking point and I told my business partner, I quit. I'm done. I need to feel like I have value as a human, and this isn't working. And I went to bed defeated, thinking that I would walk away from the business. The next morning, something clicked. I realized that I hadn't truly given it everything before quitting, and I asked myself a powerful question. Who has built a successful software company before? And I thought of Bill Gates, first thing that came to mind. I studied how he did it, and one strategy that he used was forming partnerships. So I tried modeling that, and soon after, I landed a $13,500 deal for our business. And that was more money than I had ever seen, and more importantly, it proved my limiting belief was wrong. I wasn't a failure. I just needed the right strategy and mindset. And in that moment, I learned that the beliefs I choose to hold can make or break me. As Henry Ford famously said, whether you believe you can do a thing or not, you are right. I had believed that I couldn't win, and I was right until I changed that belief. And once I believed I could find a way, I did. The lesson, the stories and beliefs in your head directly impact your outcomes. Or in the words of Tony Robbins, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is a story that you keep telling yourself. My old story was, I'm not good enough, I should quit. When I changed my story, my results changed too. Yeah, but now you might be thinking, okay, yeah, Evan, that sounds great, but it's just not that simple. I've believed these things for years, right? Can I just change them? I get it. Listen, we've all been there, and here's the truth. It's normal to have tons of negative thoughts running through your head. In fact, research shows that the average person has between 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of those are negative, with 95% of those same repetitive thoughts as the day before. So think about that. If most of your thoughts each day are negative and on repeat, of course it feels hard to break out. Your brain has literally been reinforcing the same self-defeating messages over and over again. No wonder it's tough to just snap your fingers and change it. But there is good news. Those thoughts are not facts, and you can break the pattern. Our brains have something called neuroplasticity. It's a fancy word. What it means is your brain can rewire itself. You are not stuck with the beliefs that you have now. Just like you learned them, you can unlearn them. And you don't have to take my word for it. Science proves that our fears and negative predictions are usually way overblown. A study at Cornell found that 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. And for the 15% that did happen, 79% of people found they handled the situation better than expected or learned a valuable lesson from it. In other words, 97% of your worries are baseless. Think about how powerful that is. Almost all of those scary what-if scenarios in your head are just ghosts. They are not real. So when that voice in your head says, oh, it's just too hard to change, or this fear is keeping me safe, realize that's a belief that doesn't serve you. It's your brain trying to protect you from imagined pain, but it's holding you back from real opportunities. Yes, it takes work to change beliefs. I'm not saying that it is going to be instant, but it is simple in the sense that it follows a process. And just like any skill, you can learn to manage and rewrite your beliefs. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how in this video. These are strategies that are practical, proven, and even science-backed. They've worked for me, they've worked for many successful entrepreneurs, and if you commit to them, they will work for you too. Let's dive in. Number one, identify the beliefs holding you back. The first step in all this is awareness. You can't fix a belief if you don't even realize that it's there. So I want to shine a light on the negative beliefs that are lurking there in your mind. Start paying attention to that little voice in your head, especially when you feel fear, doubt, or frustration. What is it saying? So maybe it's saying, I'm not good at sales, or I'm too old, or I'm too young to succeed. That was one of mine. I'm too young. I always mess things up. These are red flags or limiting beliefs in action. Write them down when you catch them. Actually seeing the words on paper helps you recognize the pattern. Ask yourself if these beliefs show up in your language. Often our belief slips out as casual statements like I can't, or I'm bad at, or I never, or I always screw up when. So for example, you might hear yourself say, oh, I'm terrible at hiring people. That's not a fact, that's a belief. Catch it. As the Wharton School's research explains, we all have limiting beliefs that stop us from achieving our dreams. We need to be mindful of the words we use and the beliefs we accept as truth. Start tuning into your words and thoughts. Do they push you forward or pull you back? So here's a quick exercise. Think of a goal that you have in your business or life that you've been avoiding or struggling with. Now finish this sentence. I want to do this, but I can't because blank. Whatever you put after the because is likely a limiting belief. It would be because I'm not experienced enough, or because I don't have the personality for it, or because I failed before. That is the belief holding you back. Identify it. To make this really concrete, psychologists suggest a few tips for recognition. It starts with listening to your self-talk. So what do you tell yourself about your abilities? Does it sound like an excuse or limiting label? Next, ask, is this belief actually true? Often we state beliefs as if they're facts. Challenge that. So for example, saying, I'm a bad public speaker, is that 100% true always? or is it just a story that you've accepted? Next, separate facts from interpretation. Maybe the fact is you have little experience in something. Cool, that's fine. But the belief added on might be, so I can't succeed. Well, the first part is a fact. The second part is an assumption. Catch yourself when you mix the two. Next, notice definitive words. Statements that include always, never, can't, impossible are usually beliefs, not truths. When you think, I'll never be good at tech, that's a belief, not a fact. By identifying those key limiting beliefs, you've already won half the battle. Most people never do this. They go through life controlled by unseen beliefs. But not you, not anymore. You're gonna drag those beliefs out of the shadows and we're gonna confront them head on. Number 2, question your beliefs. So now that you know what beliefs are sabotaging you, it's time to put them on trial, interrogate those beliefs. Don't accept them at face values. Demand truth. I want the truth. One of my favorite questions to ask is, says who? For instance, if your belief is, I'm not qualified enough to start this business, ask, says who? Who decided what qualified enough is? Often you'll realize that no one officially declared that. It's just a standard that you made up or you absorbed from somebody else. Next, ask, is this always true in every situation or have there been exceptions? If you believe I'm bad at public speaking, well, can you think of a time you actually did okay at presenting something? Or maybe you've never actually tried through preparation. Is it really true that you're bad or you just feel afraid? Many beliefs crumble under simple scrutiny because they're based on generalizations from a few events. As an executive coach put in Wharton magazine, having one tough conversation that didn't go well doesn't mean you don't have good management skills. In other words, just because something happened once or a few times doesn't prove that it's a permanent truth about you and will forever exist. Another powerful question is, what is the evidence for this belief? So treat it like a scientific hypothesis. If you think, I'm not good with technology, list out evidence for and against it. Maybe evidence for, you struggled with a software once. Evidence against, you successfully set up your new smartphone last week or learned a new app. You'll often find the evidence against is stronger, but our brains conveniently ignore to protect our ego. We have a known bias called confirmation bias. We pay attention to information that confirms what we already believe and dismiss what contradicts it. So if you believe you're bad at technology, you remember every tech problem as proof, but you forgot the time you figured something out. Start catching that. And here's just one more thing. Consider where the belief actually came from. Sometimes a limiting belief started in childhood or came from a past failure. Maybe a teacher criticized your writing in school. And so you carry that belief, I'm a terrible writer, for decades. But that origin doesn't make it true today. It just means at one point you adopted that belief. And realizing that can help you emotionally let it go. Like, oh, I've been believing this since I was 10 when Mrs. Smith gave me a C. That doesn't mean I'm actually incapable now, right? We give old voices from the past way too much power in the present. So it's time to take that power back for yourself. So here's a challenge. Challenge every limiting belief. Is it true? Always. What's the evidence? Where did this come from? Often you'll find the belief is built on shaky ground. This weakens its hold on you. As soon as you start doubting the belief, it loses momentum. So remember, a belief is not an immutable fact of nature. It's more like a mental habit. And habits can change. Number 3, reframe the story. Replace with empowering beliefs. After you've broken down your old beliefs, you need to replace it with a new, more empowering belief. Nature hates a vacuum. So if you just eliminate a belief and don't fill the space, the old one slips back in. So now it's time to rewrite your story. This is where you flip the I can't into I can, or at least I'm learning to. Start by reframing the negative statement into something that's more objective and hopeful. Let's take, for example, the original belief. I don't have an experience, so I can't succeed as an entrepreneur. Okay, we question it. Is it true that lack of experience means guaranteed failure? No. Everyone starts with no experience at some point. So let's reframe that. I don't have a lot of experience yet, so I will learn and gain experience as I go, which will help me succeed. You see the difference? We went from a closed, final verdict of I can't succeed to an open-ended growth mindset statement. I can succeed by learning as I go. The fact, which was no experience, is still acknowledged, but the interpretation is now positive and empowering, not a dead end. This ties into what psychologists call the growth mindset. This is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort, as opposed to the fixed mindset, which says it is what it is, right? It's carved and sewn. Nothing will change. Adopting a growth mindset is critical to changing beliefs. When you have a growth mindset, a limiting belief transforms from I can't do X into I can't do X yet. And that one little word yet is extremely powerful because it keeps the door open for growth. And there's a load of science behind this. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck famously found that students with a growth mindset, which means they believe they could improve with effort, consistently outperform those with the fixed mindset. In one national study of 12,000 ninth graders, teaching a short course on growth mindset led to significantly higher grades. GPAs went up, and the number of failing students dropped by 5% compared to the control group. So just think about that. Just a changing belief about learning made a measurable impact on performance. If changing a belief can raise test scores, imagine what it can do for your business metrics too. So what new beliefs do you need to adopt? It could be the opposite of your limiting belief. If your old belief was, I'm not good enough, your new belief becomes, I'm absolutely good enough and I can get even better. If your old belief was, I'm too blank, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too shy, I'm too uneducated, I'm too introverted to succeed. Reframe it to my blank is actually an asset because it makes me unique and I can succeed at any age or stage if I work at it. Right? You choose a belief that serves you, that makes you feel motivated and strong. It should be positive and plausible. Don't say, I am the greatest of all time, if it just makes your brain roll its eyes. Say something that you can accept, but that stretches you, like, I am capable of learning what it takes to succeed. So I'll give you a personal example. I had the belief that I was a quiet introvert, and that because of that, I couldn't be a great public speaker or a YouTuber. That was a limiting belief. My reframe was, yes, I'm introverted, and that gives me power to connect deeply with people one-on-one. I can use that strength on camera by imagining I'm talking to just one person and impacting them, which I do now before I make a video. That new belief empowered me to start making videos despite my nature. Now here I have 4 million subscribers. The introversion didn't disappear. I just reframed how I see it. So you take your belief and you turn it on its head to craft a new narrative where you are the hero, not the victim of this belief. It might help to remember too that ability is not fixed. As Dr. Albert Bandura, the psychologist behind the self-efficacy theory, said, people's beliefs about their abilities have a profound effect on those abilities. Ability is not a fixed property. There is huge variability in how you perform. So in other words, if you believe you can improve, you will improve. You start approaching challenges thinking, how can I handle this? Instead of dreading, oh my gosh, what if I fail, right? This mental shift is life-changing. So write down your new empowering belief. Literally write it out as an affirmation or declaration. For example, I am worthy of success and I can figure things out. That's one that I had to adopt for myself. One of my favorite versions is great things come to me. At first, it might just feel like words, but you're going to reinforce it with the next step so it sinks in, becomes your new default belief. Number 4, take action to build new evidence. Okay, so you've got a new empowering belief. Now, let's prove it to yourself. Beliefs become really strong when they're backed by evidence from your own life. So remember earlier I talked about experiences shaped your old beliefs. Now experiences will cement your new ones. Action is the antidote to doubt. So you can do all the mindset work in the world, but if you don't act, the belief will not stick. You have to give your brain real world, actual proof. So think about it like this. Your brain is somewhat skeptical, right? It might be saying, okay, I see you. You say you're capable. Show me. So go collect small wins that align with that new belief. If your new belief is, I can learn and be good at sales, set yourself an achievable task. So maybe you're going to call one prospect or you're going to sell a low stakes item to a friend just to practice. When you do that and it goes even moderately well, celebrate it. That's evidence. Your brain notes, hey, we did it. Then you do it again and you get another reference point. And over time, these actions and results compile into a solid case file supporting, hey, I'm good at sales, or at least I'm getting better at sales. This is exactly how I overcame my fear in my business. After that deal, $13,500, right, that I mentioned, I didn't stop there. I kept using the partnership strategy again and again, each time reinforcing the belief that I can create value and make money. The evidence grew and my confidence grew alongside it. So back to psychologist Albert Bandura. He calls this mastery experience. It's the #1 way to build self-efficacy, which is more fancy term for self-confidence in your ability. Basically, nothing convinces you that you can do something more than actually doing it. Even a small success can start a positive spiral up. Bandura said, self-belief does not necessarily ensure success, but self-disbelief assuredly spawns failure. So if you take action while stuck in self-disbelief, you'll half quit before you begin and fulfill the negative prophecy. But if you even take a tiny action with belief, you give yourself a chance to succeed. And even if you fail, you learn something, which is a form of success because it's progress. But this is important. Start small and be specific. Don't try to boil the ocean on day one. If your belief is around not being able to speak on camera, don't force yourself to do a TED Talk next week, right? Start by making a 1-minute video just for yourself or a friend. If your belief is, I'm not creative, take on one small creative task, like brainstorming 5 ideas for something, rather than expecting to write a full novel. Small wins accumulate. Each one is like a vote towards the identity that you want to adopt. So you're essentially saying to yourself, see, I can do this. Also, don't be afraid of a bit of failure along the way. It's just data. It's not damnation. Thomas Edison famously said, after all these failed attempts at trying to make a working light bulb, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that will not work. And so each attempt taught him something. You can adopt a similar attitude. If an action doesn't give the result that you want, avoid slipping back into the, see, I knew it wouldn't work. I knew I couldn't do it. Instead, tell yourself, okay, that was an experiment. Now I know one approach that didn't work, which gets me closer to that one that will. And this keeps the new empowering belief alive. The belief is I am capable. I just need to find the right approach. Now, one more tip here. Document your wins. Our brains have a bias to remember the bad and forget the good. It's called a negativity bias. So to override that, you want to keep a victory log. Jot down any progress, no matter how small, that supports your new belief. So you landed a new client? Amazing, write it down. You spoke up in a meeting where you usually stay silent? Awesome, write it down. You overcame procrastination for an hour and you got some awesome task done. Awesome, write that down. This list will become a powerful antidote on days when doubt tries to creep back in. You can look at it and say, hold on, I have evidence that I am growing and I am succeeding. Every action you take is a step up a ladder. With each step, that old belief gets further down below you. You start to literally outgrow it. The key is consistency. Repeat the actions that align with your new belief. The consistency builds competence, and competence reinforces the confidence. It's a beautiful cycle once you've got it started. So get started when? Right now. What's one small action you can do today that aligns with your new belief? Do it as soon as this video is over. Momentum is going to be your friend here. Number 5, surround yourself with positivity and support. Beliefs are contagious. The people and environment that you surround yourself with have a huge influence on what you believe about yourself. So to solidify your new, more empowering beliefs, create an environment that supports them. So think of it as cultivating a garden, right? You want to remove all of the weeds, which are going to be your negative influences, and you want to enrich the soil with lots of sunlight and water, which is going to be your positive influences. So first, evaluate your social circle and the inputs that you're listening to. Are you around people who uplift you? Or people who constantly doubt and criticize? If your friends or family are always saying things to you like, hey, are you sure you can do that? Or reinforcing your old limiting beliefs, you need to limit exposure to that negativity. Now, I know it's not always possible to just drop certain people from your life, but you can choose how much weight you give to their opinions. You might even have an honest conversation with some of them and say, hey, I'm working on being more positive and I would appreciate your support. The important thing is to protect your mind from constant negativity. If you hear you can't from others all day, it's going to be tough to keep your yes, I can belief. Next, actively seek out more positive influencers. These can be mentors, it could be like-minded entrepreneurs, or even content, books, videos like this, podcasts that reinforce your empowering beliefs. The reason I created this belief community is because surrounding yourself with people who believe in you helps you find more belief in yourself. So find your tribe of people who are always focused on growth and positivity. If you don't have friends like that locally, come join us online. Leave a comment in the video. Join another entrepreneur group, a mastermind, anything. Being in a community of optimistic, action-oriented people is infectious in a good way. You start to normalize success and big thinking because everyone around you is doing it too. Also, use visual and auditory cues in your environment to keep your new beliefs front and center. In my own office, I have a giant poster behind me on the wall right there that has Jay-Z talking about making history. And it's the first thing that I see every morning when I walk in, and it instantly primes my mind. you can do something similar. Put up quotes that inspire you, or a vision board, or even a sticky note on your computer with your key new belief statement. For example, if your new belief is, I am a successful CEO in the making, and put that where you're going to see it often. It might sound cheesy, but these cues really work. They continuously feed your subconscious with the messages that you choose, rather than leaving it to soak up whatever random negativity is in the ecosystem right now. Science backs this up too. Our brain literally wires itself on repeated stimuli. Remember, 95% of the thoughts are repetitive. So fill those repetitions with good stuff. If you repeatedly expose yourself to empowering messages, guess what your 95% of repetitive thoughts will start to be, right? Empowering ones. It's like healthy brainwashing, if there is such a thing, right? You're intentionally programming your mind. Think of positive content as the nutrition for your belief system. Just like your body, it needs good food, right? Organic, healthy, awesome food. Your mind needs positive input regularly too. I personally listen to motivational talks and read inspiring books daily. It's part of my mental multivitamin. And over time, this constant diet of positivity has raised my default level of confidence and crushed a lot of my old beliefs. And finally, don't hesitate to get help if you need it. Sometimes a limiting belief can be deeply rooted, even tied to trauma. So talking to a coach or therapist can also work wonders in trying to unravel that. And there's no shame in it. It's an investment in your mindset. Even top athletes have coaches. Think of it like that, but for your mental game. So here's a framework reminder. Your beliefs lead to your mindset, lead to your actions, lead to results, right? It all starts with beliefs, but sustaining those beliefs require a supportive mindset and environment. So design your life in a way that reinforces what you want to believe. Cut out the negative sources, flood in the positive ones. When you do this, you'll find it so much easier to maintain your confidence on the hard days. Now, we all have these moments where doubt will creep in. And the difference is whether you're alone with that doubt in a dark room, or you have an army of positive voices from friends and mentors and books and videos behind you saying, you got this. Don't give up. Build your army. Conclusion. So coming back to the original question, is there a simple way to stop these beliefs that do not serve us? The answer is yes. Not easy, but simple in the steps. So to recap, you identify the toxic belief. You challenge it until it loses its power. You rewrite it into an empowering belief. You prove to yourself with consistent action, and you surround yourself with influences that make your new strong belief true. This is the formula. This is the path to liberating yourself from the invisible chains that have been holding you back. So imagine yourself a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, having applied these steps. Those old limiting beliefs like I'm not enough or I can't succeed will feel like a bad dream from the past. You'll be making bold moves in your business. You'll be taking on big challenges that you never thought that you could. And most importantly, you'll feel free to pursue your true potential without that voice in your head sabotaging you. That's what I want for you, that freedom, that confidence. Remember, you control your beliefs, not the other way around. You have the power to rewrite the script at any moment. So don't wait for permission. Don't wait for proof from someone else. Start believing a better story about yourself now and start living into it. And as you do this, you'll find that the world starts to conspire with you rather than against you. Opportunities suddenly open up because you're finally open to them. As one of my favorite sayings goes, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's true. So think you can. Know you can. I'll leave you this. Never let your old beliefs define your future. You are capable of so much more than you know. Every great entrepreneur, every success story that you admire had to battle their own doubts and limiting beliefs. The only difference is they did not let those beliefs win. Now it's your turn to do the same. I believe in you. It's time for you to believe in you too. Let's stop those limiting beliefs in their tracks and replace them with ones that empower and serve us. You've got this. I'm rooting for you. Now get out there, apply this, and make your dreams happen. And as always, believe. You ever feel like you're completely lost, like you're stuck in a rut and you can't find your way out? It's a scary feeling, especially for an entrepreneur like you who's used to chasing big dreams. You might be waking up dreading the day, wondering, what am I even doing with my life and business? If that's you, stay with me. It might sound crazy, but a simple sticky note could be the key to rewiring your brain and getting you back on track. I'm going to show you how, step by step, backed by real neuroscience. The problem. Feeling lost on your entrepreneurial journey. So feeling lost or stuck is more common than you think, especially among entrepreneurs. You pour your heart into your business, and sometimes it feels like you're getting nowhere. You start doubting yourself, and those doubts just keep replaying over and over in your mind. Studies have found that approximately half of entrepreneurs experience at least one significant mental health challenge like anxiety or depression in their lifetime. So if you're feeling this way, you are not alone, far from it. The problem is, the more that you tell yourself that you're lost or that you're failing, the more your brain believes it. Negative thoughts can become a loop and a mental trick that plays over and over again. But here's the good news. Your brain can change and you can break that loop. Neuroplasticity. Yes, you can change your brain. So your brain isn't fixed in stone. It has an amazing ability called neuroplasticity. That's a fancy word that means it can rewire and adapt throughout your life. So in simple terms, when you learn something or you repeat something, your brain cells, neurons, form new connections. So neuroscientists often say it like this: neurons that fire together, wire together. So what does that mean? If you repeatedly think or do the same thing, the neurons involved start connecting more strongly, making that thought or that action easier the next time. It's how habits form and skills develop. So think about it. If every day you tell yourself, I'm lost, I'm lost, I'm lost, you're literally wiring your brain to stay lost. Those neurons keep firing together and strengthening that belief. But, and huge but, if you start feeding your brain a new message, you can wire a new pathway. It's like carving a fresh trail through a forest. At first, it's hard to even see, but walk it enough times and it becomes a clear path. According to brain experts, the brain forms interconnections based on repeated simultaneous activity. In other words, repeat a positive thought enough and your brain will rewire itself to adopt it. This is real neuroscience. Your brain can literally change its structure and function with focused practice over time. Okay, so now how do we make use of this superpower of neuroplasticity to help you stop feeling lost and start feeling driven again? That's where our simple tool comes in, the sticky note. Why focus and belief matter, the power of your mindset. So before we dive into the sticky note method, you need to understand why this works. It comes down to focus and belief. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of it as your brain's filter for information. Your brain is bombarded with signals every second, and the RAS helps decide what actually gets your attention. So you ever notice how if you learn a new word, you suddenly start hearing it everywhere? Or if you decide on a certain car to buy, you suddenly start seeing that car on the road all the time? That's your RAS at work. It filters in what you've programmed it to consider important. So when you feel lost, your mind is often zeroed in on negative thoughts like, I'm directionless or nothing ever works out for me. Your RAS will then filter the world to confirm those beliefs. You'll zero in on more evidence that you're stuck and miss opportunities or solutions. So we need to flip that script for you. By setting a clear intention or goal for yourself and repeating it, you tell your RAS, hey, this is important to me. As a result, you start to notice ideas and people and opportunities that align with that new focus. Neuroscience researchers put it this way: if you clearly define your goal and write it down, you will start noticing connections in conversations and seeing different avenues in your environment that help you achieve it. So those opportunities were probably there all along, but now your brain is tuned in. This is also where belief comes in, right? If you believe you're stuck, you'll act stuck. If you believe you can change, you will start changing. As Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. In other words, your mindset sets the limit on your potential. Again, it isn't just a motivational talk. It's backed by psychology. Optimism and a sense of self-efficacy, that's the belief that you can influence your situation, have been linked to better resilience and performance. So when you have a hopeful, positive narrative in your head, you make better choices and create better outcomes. So how do we train your focus and belief towards the positive? All right, enter the sticky note, your new daily brain trainer. Why a sticky note? The science behind this simple tool. So why are we using a sticky note of all things? It seems almost too simple, right? That's the beauty of it. A sticky note is cheap, it's easy, and it can serve as a constant visual reminder of the change that you're trying to make. Here's why it works, backed by science. Writing engages your brain. So don't just think your new intention, write it down by hand. Neuroscience research from the University of Tokyo found that writing by hand actually increases brain activity in areas involved in memory and recall, much more than typing on a phone or computer. In the study, people who wrote on physical paper could remember information better and even completed tasks 25% faster than those who used digital devices. Why? Writing on paper gives your brain unique tactile and spatial information, creating stronger memory traces. In short, putting pen to paper makes your brain sit up and pay attention. When you scribble a powerful phrase on a sticky note, you're imprinting it deeper into your mind than if you just silently thought about it. Next, visual cues trigger action. A sticky note placed in your environment, like on your bathroom mirror or your computer monitor, it becomes a cue. So psychologists who study habits will tell you that cues are a big part of forming new routines. Your environment can prompt you to think or act in a certain way without you even realizing it. So if you see a bright sticky note each morning that says, for example, keep moving forward, it interrupts your autopilot thinking and refocuses you on that idea. It's hard to ignore a neon post-it by your face. By making the positive message highly visible, you ensure that you're repeatedly triggering the new thought. Remember, neurons that fire together, wire together. So every time you see the note and think the thought, you're strengthening that neural wiring. Next, affirmations rewire thought patterns. So the sticky note message will essentially be a positive affirmation or a focused thought. Repeating affirmations have been shown to have real effects on the brain and on stress levels. Research published in Psychology Today notes that positive self-talk can counteract and eventually quiet the negative thoughts in our heads. We all have negative self-talk that holds us back. But when you deliberately introduce positive statements, you start to drown out the negativity over time. So think of it like this. Affirmations are exercises for your brain. Just as doing reps in the gym builds your muscles, doing repetitions of a positive statement builds new mental pathways. Over time, you reprogram your brain and replace the old limiting circuits with new empowering ones. In fact, studies have shown that a habit of affirmations can reduce stress and even improve people's problem solving and health choices. That's because you're training your brain to focus on possibilities and strengths rather than fears. Next, emotion boosts memory. So here's a pro tip. When you read your sticky note, feel it, don't just say it. Neuroscience tells us that emotional experience gets remembered more strongly than neural ones. So, for example, you probably remember your first victory in business or a major setback very vividly because it had a strong emotion attached to it. Research has found that memories of emotional events are often more vivid and accurate than memories of ordinary events. Emotional arousal hardwires details into your brain. So if your sticky note says, I have a purpose, and reading that gives you a spark of hope or determination, that emotional charge will help lock in the message. So smile, stand tall, and let yourself feel the positivity of confidence of the statement. By combining the intention, which is the words on the note, with emotion, you're signaling to your brain that this is important, and your brain will remember and integrate it faster. So in short, a sticky note works on multiple levels. It's engaging your brain through writing, it's grabbing your attention visually, it's reinforcing positive self-talk, and if you involve emotion, it's turbocharging all of those effects. Not bad for a tiny piece of paper, right? Now let's get practical and walk through how you can use a sticky note to start rewiring your brain and guiding yourself out of that lost feeling. The Sticky Note Brain Rewire, step-by-step guide. Okay, it's time to take action. Grab a pen and a pad of sticky notes, right? We're going to create your very own brain rewiring note. Here's a simple step-by-step process. Step number 1, choose one powerful message. First, decide on a word or phrase that captures what you want to believe or focus on most. Make it positive and present tense. It could be an affirmation, a goal, or simply a reminder of your core purpose. Think about the mindset that you want to install in your brain. So for example, if you've been feeling directionless, your message might be something like, I have a clear purpose, or I am focused and moving forward. If you feel like a failure, it could be, I am capable of great things. Make sure that it resonates with you deeply. Less is more here. A short, clear phrase is easier for your brain to latch onto. And here's a pro tip. In my book, Your One Word, I talk about finding your core value or theme for your life. This can also be a great source for your sticky note. My one word is believe, and seeing that word reminds me of what I do. So take a moment to pick your word or phrase that represents the opposite of feeling lost, something that represents being guided, being purposeful, being strong, or whatever you need right now. Another one of my personal favorites when I feel lost is that great things come to me. Whenever I don't know what to do and I struggle and I feel like none of my plans are working out, I tell myself, I write on a sticky note, great things come to me. Okay, step number 2, write it by hand. Now take out your sticky note and write your message by hand. Write it in big, bold letters so that you can see it at a glance. As you write it, say it in your head or say it out loud. This simple act is already beginning to wire it into your brain. Remember, writing engages your brain more than just typing or just thinking. So for example, if you choose the phrase, I am focused and unstoppable. Write out, I am focused and unstoppable on that note. The physical act of writing and the mental act of affirming it start forging a new neural pathway. And here's a pro tip. Use a color that stands out. I'm using white and black that are on brand for me right now, but a bright yellow or orange sticky note can grab your attention more than a dull color. You want this to literally stand out in your environment and in your mind. Step number 3, place your sticky note strategically. So put that sticky note somewhere where you will see it every single day, especially first thing in the morning and throughout the day. So some good suggestion spots: your bathroom mirror, you see it when you go and you brush your teeth. Your bedroom door, you see it before you go to sleep. The refrigerator, your computer monitor. Choose a place associated with when you often feel lost or in a down mood. So for a lot of people, the morning mirror is powerful because you start the day by looking at this positive message instead of immediately drowning in your worries. So by placing it in a high visibility spot, you ensure that you get that daily cue. It's like setting up a checkpoint where your brain gets a dose of positivity and focus automatically. And hey, you can even have multiple notes for multiple places if you want some extra reinforcement. The key is don't hide it. Make it unmissable. Step number 4, read it, repeat it, feel it. So every time you see your sticky note, read it consciously. Don't just glance at it and ignore it. Take a second to really absorb it. Read it out loud if you can. Yes, talk to yourself. It works. Say it with conviction. Say it like you're telling yourself the most important truth. And here's the important part. Feel the words. If your note says, I have a purpose, recall for a moment why you started your entrepreneurial journey and feel that sense of purpose spark up. If it says, I am strong, stand a little straighter and feel the strength in you. Infuse the affirmation with emotion and meaning. This helps encode it deeper in your brain and faster. It might feel a little silly at first, but trust me, this is training your brain. You're not just reading a note, you're rewiring your neural circuits. Try to do this every single time you encounter the note. So make a tiny little ritual. See the note, say the note, and feel it for a moment. These few seconds of mindfulness are rewiring you bit by bit. Step number 5, take small actions. Optional but powerful. After reading your note and getting into that positive mindset, try to do something small that aligns with the message. So this step links your new mindset with tangible action, which reinforces it even more. So for example, if your note says, I am moving forward, right after you read it, do a couple quick tasks that show that you're moving forward. Send that email you've been procrastinated on, or spend 5 minutes brainstorming solutions to a problem that you've been stuck on. This creates a mental association between the state of mind, the I'm proactive and focused, and the actual behavior. Action also gives you evidence that what you're telling yourself is true. So you'll start to say, hey, I am getting things done. Look at me go. Those small wins each day piled up build momentum out of your rut. So remember, feeling lost often causes inaction. So we counter it with small action. Your sticky note becomes a trigger, not just for thinking better, but doing better. Step number 6, stay consistent. Make it a daily habit. Rewiring your brain isn't an instant miracle. It's a daily practice. The brain learns by repetition over time. Researchers have found that forging a new habit takes on average about 66 days of consistent repetition, about 2 months for it to become automatic. So commit to this sticky note practice every day for the next few months. It literally takes less than a minute of your day to do, so make it non-negotiable. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back to it the next day. Some days you might not feel those words are true. That's okay. Still say them. In fact, especially say them on the hard days. You are rewiring those old beliefs, and that old I'm lost circuit will take a little time to weaken as the new I have direction circuit takes over. Trust the process. Science backs us up. With each repetition, that new neural connection is getting just a little bit stronger. It's just like muscle training. You might not see the bicep on day 1, right? But by day 30 or 60, there's growth. So keep at it daily. Step number 7, refresh your notes over time. So here's a practical tip. If the sticky note starts to blend into the background, after a few weeks, you might get too used to it, right? Feel free to move it to a new spot or write a new note to keep things fresh. You could upgrade your message as progress. So for example, if I have purpose has sunk in and you're feeling more directed, maybe your next note says execute with passion. or great things come to me, or whatever next step you need. This isn't about constantly changing goals, but rather keeping your brain engaged. Sometimes a new wording or a new color paper reignites your focus again. But if the original message still hits home, you can absolutely keep the same note up as long as it motivates you. And so by following these steps, you've essentially set up a mini neuroscience experiment just on yourself. You've created a positive feedback loop. The note triggers a positive thought, which triggers positive emotion and action, which gives positive results, which then reinforces the positive belief. This loop, over time, pulls you out of the mental quicksand of feeling lost. It's simple, but incredibly powerful when done consistently. Bringing it all together, motivation and next steps. At this point, you might be thinking, can a sticky note really change my life? And on its own, the sticky note is just a tool. You are the one changing your life. The note is a daily catalyst. It's a prompt to remind you of what matters and what you're capable of. It helps you break the cycle of negative thinking and replace it with intentional, positive focus. So think about this. The fact that you're willing to try this means you haven't given up. There's a part of you that knows that you have a purpose, that you can find your way again. We're just using science and a little piece of paper to draw that out and make it your dominant mindset. Small things lead to big changes. Writing a couple words on a sticky note is a small act, but doing it every day with heart and intention can lead to a profound mindset shift. And remember, you're not just doing mind tricks. You're leveraging how your brain naturally works. You're using neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to adapt. You're using psychological principles of habit formation and attention. You're effectively coaching your brain like you would train a muscle. There's real weight behind this. For instance, self-affirmation practices have been shown to reduce stress and increase well-being in scientific studies. Entrepreneurs and high performers around the world use techniques like visualization, affirmations, and goal setting because they work. And now you have your personalized version of that. I want to emphasize, if you feel lost, don't go it alone. Yes, the sticky note exercise is something that you can do by yourself, but also make sure that you're talking to mentors and friends and experts who can support you too. Sometimes a conversation, reading a good book, watching an inspiring video. I've interviewed countless successful people on my channel and featured them where we talk about pushing through tough times. That can also give you a boost of perspective. So use those resources. For example, if finding purpose is a big issue for you, check out my book, Your One Word, or Built to Serve, where I dive into how serving others can give your work meaning. In fact, one strategy I mentioned is remembering who you're serving. Maybe your customers, your family, or a younger version of you. You can even write that on a sticky note. Something like, I build this business to help new moms, or remember why you started. A purpose-driven reminder can be incredibly grounding when you feel lost. It pulls you out of your own head and directs your focus to the impact that you want to have. And let's also talk a little bit about motivation. Change, even with a tool as simple as this, can feel slow. You might do this for a week and think, is anything happening? Trust that it is. Your brain is changing quietly, day by day. Others might start noticing you seem a little more upbeat or determined, even before you fully notice it. You'll gradually find that the lost feelings visit you less often, and when they do, you now have a way to steer your thoughts back on course. So celebrate those small victories. Maybe you felt excited about your project for the first time in months. That's a win. Maybe you solved a problem at work that you felt too stuck to handle before. Another win. These are signs that your sticky note, and more importantly, your commitment to a new mindset is paying off. Your new path forward. Look at the journey we've laid out here. From understanding why you feel lost, to learning that your brain can change, to setting up a practical method to redirect your focus every day. It's actionable and it's backed by neuroscience. Now, the ball is in your court. Will you take that first step? Will you spend 5 minutes or less to write out that note and place it where you need it? I hope you do, because that tiny action could spark a transformation for you. Imagine yourself a few months from now. You walk past your mirror in the morning and you see your note. I am focused and unstoppable. Except it's not just a note anymore. It's your reality. You've been living it. You feel more clear, you feel more driven, and more you again. The challenges are still there. Entrepreneurship is never easy. But now you tackle them with a mindset that says, I will find a way. That's the difference rewiring your brain can make. So you have the tools, you have the knowledge, and deep down, you have that fire that pushed you to start this journey of entrepreneurship in the first place. It might have dimmed for a moment, but you're about to reignite it. Every great entrepreneur, every success story has faced moments of feeling lost. And the ones who rise are those who choose to believe in themselves and put in the work to change. And now, it's your turn. So, take that sticky note, craft your future one day at a time. Your brain will follow your lead. It just needs you to show up consistently. So make that promise to yourself. You are not lost. You are recalibrating. You are learning, growing, and rewiring for success. So go ahead and do this. Do this for you. Start now and stick with it, literally. And soon you'll look back and realize that the fog has lifted and you're on a clear path forward, a path that you created by training your mind. And remember, you have the power to change your story because you have the power to change your brain. It all starts with a single decision, a sticky note, and a belief that things can be different. So are you ready to rewrite your narrative? I know you can do it. Now it's time for you to know it, feel it, and live it every day. Go make it happen. Believe. You know that feeling, the tight chest, the knot in your stomach, the voice in your head screaming, what if I fail? As an entrepreneur, fear can feel like a curse that haunts your every move. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you'll lose everything, that everyone will laugh at your bold idea. Right? It paralyzes you, stopping you from making that call, from launching that product, or seizing that big opportunity. And you're not alone in feeling this. In fact, nearly half of people globally say that fear of failure would keep them from even starting the business. Fear stalks every entrepreneur on some level. But here's the truth. Fear is a curse until you learn to harness it. And today, I'm going to show you how to break that curse. The curse of fear in entrepreneurship. Fear of failure is everywhere in the entrepreneurial world. It lurks when you worry about losing a key client or running out of money. One Harvard Business Review article put it bluntly. Fear of failure stalks the world of the entrepreneur. But it also gave a critical insight. For entrepreneurs, courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to persist in spite of it. So think about that. It's okay to feel fear. In fact, with roughly 75% of ventures failing within 10 years, your fears aren't random. There are real stakes in what you're doing. The problem is when that very real fear stops you cold. Fear becomes a curse when it turns into paralysis, when you procrastinate on your business plan or shy away from going to that networking event because you're terrified of rejection. It's a curse when it fills your mind with so many doubts that you quit before you even start. Fear can steal your dreams if you let it. It's the #1 enemy of achievement, causing people with great ideas to play it safe or give up entirely. As one entrepreneurship report noted, this curse is even on the rise. About 49% of people today say they wouldn't start a business for fear it might fail. That's almost half the world's potential change makers scared into inaction. So if you felt this, understand fear feels like a curse because it's incredibly good at stopping you. It paints worst-case scenarios so vividly that you convince yourself to stay in your comfort zone. But, and this is important, that's the opening chapter of the story. Before we break this curse, we need to understand what fear really is doing to you and how it might even be trying to help you. The science of fear, friend or foe. So why does fear have such a grip on you? To answer that, let's get a bit scientific. When you feel fear, say walking into an investor meeting or seeing your sales dip, your brain alarm system flips on. The amygdala, the ancient part of the brain, perceives a threat and kicks into your fight or flight response. It's the same response that would activate if you encountered a wild predator. Your heart races, your palm is sweating, and your body floods with adrenaline. In a real life or death situation, this reaction, it's a gift. It primes you to run or to fight. But in a business situation, that same response can backfire. The moment the amygdala senses danger, it starts to shut down communication to your cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logical thinking and creative decision making. In other words, when panic takes over, your rational brain goes offline. You can't think clearly about that marketing strategy if your biology is convinced that you're about to be eaten by a lion. And here's the crazy thing. Fear doesn't only come from threats. It's also tied to what you desire. So neurologically, the amygdala, the fear center, sits right next to the nucleus accumbens, which is the brain's reward and desire center. Scientists have found that these two are so intertwined that when your amygdala fires in fear, your desire center lights up too. This means when you're terrified of something, like pitching a huge client, it's actually because you deeply care about the outcome. You really want that deal. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but the key point now is that fear is wired into you both as a warning signal and, interestingly, a sign of what matters most. Now, fear isn't all bad. In fact, a little bit of fear can be healthy. Psychologists refer to the Yerkes-Dodson law. It shows that a moderate level of arousal or stress, which fear gives you can boost your performance while too little makes you complacent. Ever notice how you sometimes do better when there's a deadline looming? That mild anxiety sharpens your focus. Studies have demonstrated that some stress hormones in small doses can enhance memory and reflexes. It's your body getting you alert and ready. Fear can function as a friend when it pushes you to prepare thoroughly, pay attention, and bring your A game. One study even described how increasing arousal improves performance up to a point, but when it becomes excessive, performance declines. So think of it as a volume knob. A little fear equals dialed in focus. Too much fear equals stage fright freeze. The goal isn't zero fear. The goal is managed fear, keeping it at a productive level. So yes, fear can be a friend or a foe. It's a friend when it gives you that edge, that alertness to dodge a pitfall, or the motivation to grind on your proposal into the night. But it becomes a foe, a curse, when it floods your system and shuts you down. The difference lies in how you handle it, and handling it starts with how you see it. So let's flip the script on how you look at fear. Reframe fear, curse or gift? What if I told you that the very thing you call a curse might hide as a gift inside? It's all about distinguishing real fear from false fear. Gavin Becker, a security expert and author of The Gift of Fear, put it this way: true fear is a gift. Unwarranted fear is a curse. In other words, not all fear is created equal. Some fear is useful and productive. That's the true fear. For example, the jolt that makes you leap back from a speeding car. But unwarranted fear, the kind we imagine and inflate, that is the curse that holds us back. Take a moment to ask, is my fear trying to protect me from a real danger, or is it just freaking out about imagined worst case scenarios? Most of the time as an entrepreneur, your fears are about things that haven't actually happened. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what people will think. None of these are saber-toothed tigers in the bush. They're mental boogeymen. They feel intense, but they're not literally about to kill you. And that means we can challenge them. The gift within fear is that it can teach you or warn you. For instance, fear of running out of cash might nudge you to manage your finances more carefully. That's a healthy warning. But once you've heeded the warning, say you've cut your unnecessary expenses and you've improved your revenue model in your business, hanging on to that same fear can become toxic. At that point, it's unwarranted fear telling you you'll never make it on loop. That is the curse to break. So to reframe fear, start treating those anxious thoughts as suggestions, not prophecies. Fear says your idea might flop. Okay, thanks for the suggestion, Mr. Fear. Now, instead of freezing, ask, what can I do to mitigate that risk? Maybe you do a test launch or you gather feedback early. This way you use the fear as data, but you don't let it paralyze you. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate fear. That's impossible. Even top entrepreneurs feel it every day. But to redefine fear in your mind. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. When you feel that familiar dread, don't see it as a command to halt. See it as a nudge to prepare or a signpost that something matters. Which brings us to a powerful realization. Your fear is often a direct pointer to your deepest desires. Turn fear into fuel. Here's a game-changing perspective. Fear can be fuel. The reason you fear something deeply is often because it deeply matters to you. Think about it. Would you be so nervous about your startup pitch if you didn't care about your business? Of course not. Your fear is a reflection of your passion. One neuroscience entrepreneur coach explained that those big fears mirror big desires. Terrified of public speaking? That's because you desire to share a compelling, well-articulated message. Afraid of failure? Underneath that is your desire to have a positive impact. The fear of failing is really the flip side of wanting to succeed and make a difference so badly. That's huge. It means every time you feel fear, you can ask yourself, what goal or value is this fear connected to? Then you focus on that goal as your motivation. So let's make it practical. Suppose you're afraid of launching your product. Dig deeper. You might discover it's because you truly care about helping people with it and you want it to be perfect. That's your desire talking. So use that. Instead of letting the fear of imperfection stop you, let your desire to help people drive you to launch and improve as you go. In this way, your fear transforms into fuel for action. I'm nervous because this is important to me. Since it's important, I owe it to myself to try my best. Another way to turn fear into fuel is to swap the fear of failure with the fear of regret. Ask any seasoned entrepreneur or look at studies of people later in life. It's the things we don't do that we regret the most. Selena Rizvani, a leadership author who interviewed dozens of top executives, said one consistent message was, I regret the things I did not do more than the things I did. She advises, fear regret more than failure. So imagine fast forwarding yourself to age 90 looking back. Would you be more upset that you tried a business and it collapsed, or that you never tried it at all and always wondered what might have been? 9 times out of 10, people wish they'd at least given their dreams a shot. Use that future regret as motivation today. Let the thought of sitting on the sidelines scare you more than the thought of striking out. So whenever fear of failure is pulling at you, do a little mental judo. Flip it and say, you know what? I'm more afraid of not reaching my potential, of living a smaller life because I didn't have the guts to try. When your fear of missing out on your dreams becomes stronger than your fear of failure, you become unstoppable. Fear turns from a paralyzing curse into a propelling force forward. It pushes you from behind rather than blocking you in front. Purpose over panic, why your mission matters. If fear is fueled by what you care about, then one of the most powerful ways to break its curse is to elevate what you care about. Make your purpose and mission louder than your doubts. I've built my career around a single core belief. #believe. It's my one word, my guiding value. And a big part of that belief is that I'm built to serve. I have a mission to help others. Why does it matter? Because when you lock onto a mission greater than yourself, fear shrinks in comparison. So let me share something personal here. I might be the guy telling you to chase your dreams, but I'm human too. I'm an introvert. I've struggled with anxiety and the deep fear of disappointing people. In fact, I've said my biggest fear is I'm going to show up and let people down. That fear used to weigh on me every time I went on stage or uploaded a video. But you know what helped me free from that fear? Service. I realized my desire to serve others was stronger than my fear of looking bad. I told myself, I'm here to help even one person today. If I let fear stop me, I'm robbing that person of a chance to improve. Suddenly, the equation changed. I became willing to risk judgment, risk embarrassment, even failure, if it meant potentially uplifting someone else. Your mission can do the same for you. When you're deeply connected to why you're doing what you're doing, maybe it's to provide a better life for your family. Maybe you want to change your industry for the better. Maybe you're trying to serve your community. That purpose acts like armor against fear. Every time fear says, what if you fail? And people criticize you. Purpose shouts louder. Someone out there needs you to succeed. As a great reminder from my book, Built to Serve, your mission requires you to step up and do scary things. You do the scary thing because your mission demands it. So identify your one word, that core value that you stand for, and the purpose behind your work. Write it down and put it where you can see it. When fear hits, focus on your mission. It's hard to stay scared about one nasty comment or one failed prototype when you keep in mind the bigger picture of who you want to help and why. Purpose makes you bold. It inspires you to act in spite of fear. As the Smart Femme article about my journey noted, once you grasp and master your mission, you'll have no choice but to free yourself of your fears and fulfill your purpose. The more you anchor into serving and delivering on your mission, the more the curse of fear loses its power over you. Action steps to conquer fear. Okay, so we've talked about understanding fear, reframing fear, and finding fuel and purpose. Now let's get practical. How do you actually move forward when you're afraid? Here are some actionable steps to help you break the fear curse. Spot the fear and name it. First, acknowledge exactly what you're afraid of. Is it the fear of failure, of rejection, of financial loss? Write it down. Often just naming the fear takes away some of its mystique. Realize that most fears, they're mental stories. Challenge those stories by asking, is this a true fear, which is protecting me from real harm, or an unwarranted fear? If it's the latter, remember Gavin the Becker's wisdom. True fear is a gift. Unwarranted fear is a curse. Use that insight to stop treating every fear as a 5-alarm fire. Next, flip the script. Reframe the fear into a positive motivation. Ask yourself, what positive desire is hidden inside that fear? So for example, if you're afraid of your business failing, that means you deeply desire success and impact. Focus on that desire. Replace I'm afraid I'll fail with I care so much about this succeeding that I want to give it my all. Also, invoke the fear of regret as needed. Tell yourself you'd rather say I gave it my best than wonder what if years from now. This mental shift turns fear into fuel to propel you forward. Next, build your confidence bank. One proven way to reduce fear is to increase your capabilities. When you know what you're doing, or at least have prepared as much as possible, fear diminishes. Research shows that as entrepreneurs gain skills and knowledge, their fear of failure goes down. So invest in learning. If public speaking scares you, join a speaking club or rehearse 10 times. If you fear not knowing what you're doing in a new business, find a mentor or read books to fill the gaps. Watch videos like these. Each bit of preparation and practice is like a deposit in your confidence bank, giving you evidence that, hey, I can handle this. The more competent you become, the less room fear has to sabotage you. Next, take small, bold steps. It's also called exposure therapy. You don't have to tackle the scariest thing all at once. In psychology, there's a concept called exposure therapy. It means gradually doing the thing that scares you in small doses until your brain learns it's not as dangerous as it thinks. You can use this in business. So scared of doing sales calls? Commit to calling just one potential client today. Nervous about going on camera? Film a 1-minute video just for practice for yourself. Push yourself gently but consistently beyond your comfort zone. As Anxiety Canada explains, exposure involves gradually and repeatedly going into feared situations until you feel less anxious. After a while, your anxiety will naturally lessen. Every small step you take into fear is a step that shrinks that fear down. Over time, what used to petrify you can become almost routine. Next, do it scared. Action over emotion. At the end of the day, no matter how much reframing or preparation you do, there will be moments where fear is still there. Butterflies in your stomach, your heart's pounding. That's okay. Do it scared. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite fear. There's a famous quote from author Susan Jeffers: "The only way to get rid of the fear of doing something is to go out and do it." It's brilliantly true. You build confidence by doing the thing, not by waiting for confidence to magically appear. So take that decisive action even when your hands are shaking. Send that email, publish that website, ask that investor, hit record on that camera, even if your voice trembles. When you do, you'll realize the fear didn't kill you. And with each bold move, it loses a bit of its grip over you. Action is the antidote to fear. Embrace the fear and move forward. Here's the big secret. The goal is never to have a life free of fear. The goal is to have fear become your ally instead of your enemy. Fear can be the curse that stops you or the fuel that drives you. You get to choose. It all comes down to how you respond when fear shows up at your door. Will you let it in to run the house, or will you thank it for its concern and then show it who's boss? Every successful entrepreneur that you admire has felt the clutch of fear. The difference is they acted anyway. They felt the fear and moved forward. They learned that on the other side of that fear lies freedom. Freedom to grow, freedom to innovate, freedom to find out what they're truly capable of. And you owe it to yourself to do the same. Don't let fear rob the world of your gifts. Don't let it rob you of the life that you're capable of living. When you confront fear head on, when you implement these strategies, reframing your fear, fueling it into desire, grounding yourself in purpose, and taking bold action step by step, you rob fear of its power. It goes from a screaming curse to a manageable whisper. You'll find that confidence isn't something that you're born with. It's something that you earn every time you survive a fearful situation and realize, wow, I handled that. What else can I do? Each victory, no matter how small, is proof that fear was lying about you. So the next time fear pops up, take it as a cue that you're doing something meaningful. Smile and say, all right, I see you, fear, but I'm doing this anyway because my mission, my dream, my life are worth it. And use that surge of adrenaline to sharpen you, not shatter you. Turn the curse into clarity, the fear into focus. You have a choice right now. Stay cursed by fear or step into it and claim your destiny. It's time to break the curse and rewrite your story with courage. Feel that fear, learn from it, harness it, and then do the thing you need to do. Your best life, your business success, and your personal growth all sit just on the other side of that door. Open it, step through. And remember, fear only has the power that you give it. Starting today, promise yourself you won't give it any power to hold you back. Take your power back. Transform that fear into faith and forward momentum. Fear is a curse until you learn to conquer it. And now you've learned how. Now go out there and do what you're afraid to do, and your future self will thank you for it. You have so much untapped potential inside you. The real question is, how do you access it? One of my subscribers, Rizat, put it perfectly. I don't think I'm afraid of my potential. The thing is, how do we access it? I think this has been by design to keep us from finding out how to. Today, let's tackle this head on. I'm going to show you what potential really means, why most people never reach it, and how you can break free and unleash yours. By the end, you'll have concrete steps to start unlocking your potential today. Sound good? Let's do it. Understanding your potential, what it really means. So first, what do we mean by your potential? Your potential is basically who you could become at your absolute best. All the skills, talents, and greatness that you could achieve if you really developed yourself. It's like a seed that could grow into a mighty tree. Right now it's potential, but under the right conditions, it can become something amazing. To put it another way, your potential is your ideal self, the best version of you that you know is inside, waiting to come out. Psychologist Abraham Maslow described it as the need to become fully yourself. He said, "What a man can be, he must be," referring to the drive people have to achieve their full potential. So think about that. If you can become something, you must be. Otherwise, a part of you will always feel unfulfilled. We see signs of potential in our lives whenever we say things like, "I know I could be doing more," or "I was meant for something bigger." That nagging feeling is your potential calling out. In my case, I struggled early on and even wanted to quit on my business. But deep down, I knew I could do more. I had a message that I wanted to share. That feeling pushed me to keep going, and it's the big reason why I'm here talking to you right now today. Now, having potential and reaching it are two very different things. Everyone has potential. I firmly believe that. I often say that everyone has Michael Jordan level talent at something. Maybe you're an amazing artist or an amazing entrepreneur or a teacher in the making. The tragedy is that most people never unlock even half of that potential. The graveyard is the richest place on earth, motivational speaker Les Brown and friend of the channel once said, because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, all because someone was too afraid to take that first step. Powerful, right? I don't want you to add to that richest place of unrealized dreams. I want you to use all of your gifts while you're alive. And it's not just about you. Your potential isn't only for your benefit, it's also for the people you can impact. In my book, Built to Serve, I talk about how we are built to serve others. Your potential is connected to how you can contribute to the world. When you become the best version of yourself, you can make a bigger difference for others. As I often say, your purpose comes from your pain. The challenges that you've overcome equip you to help people facing the same struggles. Unlocking your potential lets you turn your past pain into someone else's hope. So understand this, your potential is real. It's your ideal vision of yourself, the impact you could have, the greatness you sense inside. You might not see the full picture yet, but you can feel that it's there. Now, the next step is figuring out why it's so hard to access and how to change that. Why most people never access their potential and how you can. If everyone has potential, why do so few people actually reach it? Let's address what Razab hinted at in his comment. Is the world designed to keep us from our potential? In some ways, yes. There are a few big factors that hold people back. Let's break down some of them. Number one, the fear and mindset blocks. Many times it's our own mind that stops us. Not fear of potential exactly, but fear of the changes and challenges that come with pursuing it. Psychologists talk about a fear of success. It sounds weird, but it's real. You might worry that if you aim higher and succeed, life will get more complicated or people will judge you. According to one coach, fear of success can hold a person back from achieving their potential. It can make a person feel stuck. They may take the first step and then give up when they consider the long road ahead. Does that sound familiar? Maybe you start towards a big goal, but then think, whoa, this is a lot, and retreat. It's that unconscious fear of what happens if you do level up. Related to fear is what we call a fixed mindset. This term comes from psychologist Carol Dweck. With a fixed mindset, you believe your abilities are fixed, like you're either born talented or not, so you avoid challenges to avoid failure. A growth mindset, on the other hand, means you believe you can improve with effort. Why does this matter? Because people with a growth mindset tend to achieve more than those with a fixed mindset. In studies, students who believed they could get smarter actually outperformed those who thought intelligence is fixed. In other words, if you think your abilities can grow, you're more likely to push your limits and thus reach more of your potential. If you secretly think, I'm just not blank enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, etc., you'll unconsciously put the brakes whenever you get closer to your potential. So ask yourself, what beliefs are you carrying? Do you believe you can learn and improve? Do you believe you deserve to win? If there's any negative voice saying that you can't, we need to address that. And we will with some action steps later. Number 2, society's design, education and conformity. Razab suggested this might be by design. Are there systems that keep us from our potential? I'd say our education system and many workplaces can unknowingly do this. Sir Ken Robinson gave a famous TED Talk where he said, "We don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it, or rather, we get educated out of it." Think about it, as kids, we're all wildly creative and ambitious. Then school often trains us to sit down, follow the rules, color inside all the lines, basically to become average. Schools, and I say this as a general critique, not every school, but most, rarely teach you to find your passion or purpose. They teach you how to pass tests, not how to unlock your potential. So by the time you're an adult, you might have spent years following what others expect, instead of nurturing what makes you exceptional. It's similar in the working world. A Gallup report found that only 31% of employees in 2024 were engaged at work. That means 69% felt disengaged or even checked out. Why? Often because their jobs don't tap into their personal potential or purpose. They feel like cogs in a machine. If you spent 40 hours a week or more just going through the motions, you're not developing your unique talents. So yes, in a sense, the default path society sets, go to school, get a stable job, etc., can lull you into not seeking your own potential. It's not an evil conspiracy, it's just a system designed for efficiency, not individuality. You have to take charge of breaking out of that. Number 3, lack of direction, meaning you have no clarity of purpose. Another huge reason people don't access potential is they simply haven't identified what their potential even is. If you don't know what you're capable of or what you want to achieve, it's hard to get there. It's like having a powerful car but no destination. You just sit idle in your driveway. Many people never take the time to explore their strengths, their passions, and their values deeply. You might be multi-talented or interested in a lot of different things, which can actually be paralyzing for people. You end up with analysis paralysis, or you feel you're average at everything, not realizing there is something you could be world-class at if you devoted yourself. I felt this way after I sold my first business. I was asking, now what? What's my thing? It took self-reflection to realize my passion was helping entrepreneurs. That was the seed of my potential. If you haven't found your seed yet, don't worry. I'm going to help you in the next section of this video with some frameworks to help you get some clarity. Number 4, comfort zone and procrastination. Finally, a big one. We get comfortable. Reaching your potential usually requires stepping out of your comfort zone. That means trying new things, risking failure, working hard. It's easy and very tempting to stay in your routine. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel. Maybe you want to write a book, to start a business, to get in top physical shape. But you also want to relax and watch Netflix and not stress out too much. So you keep postponing those ambitious moves. Did you know that about 20% of people are chronic procrastinators who delay important actions in all areas of their life? And honestly, I'd say nearly 100% of us procrastinate on something that matters to us. Often we wait for the perfect time to go after our dreams. I'll start my business when the kids are older, or when I have more money saved, or when things settle down. Guess what? Perfect time, it never comes. As Mel Robbins, and friend of the channel, says, your brain is designed to keep you safe, but playing it safe means you'll never grow into the person you want to become. If you keep waiting until you feel ready, you'll be waiting on your deathbed with regrets instead of achievements. Speaking of regrets, studies find that the biggest regrets people have in life are not what they did, but what they did not do. In one study where people were asked for their single biggest life regret, 76% said it was about not fulfilling their ideal self, basically not becoming the person they hoped they could be. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, the haunting regret of failing our ideal selves. That hits me hard. Failing to access your potential is literally the #1 regret people have. I don't want that to be you. Most people had not honored even a half of their dreams. Bronnie Ware, who works with patients at the end of their lives, wrote that most people had not honored even a half of their dreams and had to die knowing it was due to choices they had made or not made. In other words, they settled. They settled for less than their potential, and it became their biggest regret. This is some heavy stuff, but I wanted to light a fire under you. No more settling. No more waiting for permission or perfect timing. The cost is just too high for you. So now that we've identified these potential blockers, the fear, mindset, society's influence, lack of clarity, comfort, procrastination, you might see some of them show up in your own life, right? Awareness is step 1. If you're thinking, yeah, I do get stuck in my comfort zone, or I do worry I'm not talented enough, that's good. It means we know what we need to overcome. So next, I'm going to help you find clarity on what your potential is urging you towards using a couple of my favorite frameworks. Then we'll hit the daily habits and strategies to blast through those barriers. Identifying your potential, my frameworks to find your path. To unlock your potential, you need to identify what exactly to direct your energy toward. It's like aiming a rocket. You need a target. This is where I'll bring in two concepts from my work, Your One Word, and the idea that your purpose comes from your pain. Find your one word. I wrote a book called Your One Word, which is all about finding one core value or theme that defines you. Why one word? Because it forces you to boil down to what matters most to you. When you know your one word, it becomes a guiding light for your life and decisions. For me, that word is believe. Everything that I do, my videos on YouTube, my business, is about believing in people and helping you believe in yourself. That's my goal, at least. That's my theme. What could your one word be? Think about when you're at your best. What feeling or value is present? Is it freedom? Is it love? Is it growth? Is it service? For some people, it's words like inspire or empower or create, truth. If you find a word that resonates deeply, it can give you clarity on your potential. So, for example, if your word is inspire, maybe your potential path is to be a teacher or a speaker or an artist, something that inspires others. If your word is innovate, maybe you're meant to be an inventor or an entrepreneur. See how that works? It's a clue to what lights you up, and when you work on things that light you up, you tap into your natural potential. You will willingly put in the hours and effort, and that's when you grow the most. So take a moment after this video, don't do it right now, keep watching, and brainstorm words that describe you at your best. Look for one that really gives you goosebumps or makes you emotional. That could be a sign that it's your core theme. This is one way to identify the direction of your potential. Next is your purpose comes from your pain. This is from my book, Built to Serve. Another powerful exercise is to reflect on your struggles. In Built to Serve, I explained that the thing you struggled with the most in life often reveals your purpose. Why? Because you get that problem deeply and you care about it. When you overcome pain, you develop a passion to help others in the same situation. So for me, I struggled so much as an entrepreneur, at 19, feeling hopeless and alone. So now my purpose is to help entrepreneurs not feel so alone and give them hope and strategy so they have purpose. Your pain becomes your strength, and that strength is exactly what someone else needs. So what have you been through? Did you overcome bullying? Did you beat poverty or illness or heartbreak or loss, anxiety, trauma? Like, how did you overcome it or manage it? Your potential might lie in that story. Maybe you're meant to write a book about it, start a support community, invent a solution, or simply be a role model who shows, I've been there and I made it through. There is power in your pain. Don't shy away from it. Embrace it and consider that it might be pointing you to your purpose. So combining these, you get a clear picture. Your core value, your one word, plus your personal story, which is your pain to purpose, equals a strong hint at what you're meant to do. Once you have an idea of that, you can set a meaningful goal or mission for yourself. For example, say your one word is freedom, and your biggest struggle was overcoming debt and financial hardship. That could translate to a purpose of helping others achieve financial freedom. Your potential might be as a finance coach or entrepreneur providing jobs. Or if your one word is love and you overcame years of low self-esteem, maybe your potential mission is to help others practice self-love and confidence through counseling or creating content around personal growth. There's no one formula, but these frameworks get the gears turning. The key is that you discover something that pulls you. When you find it, you feel excited and a bit scared, but in a good way. That's when you know you're onto your potential path. Now, don't worry if you don't have it all figured out immediately. Clarity can take time, but start with these exercises. Write down some notes. The act of self-discovery is already unlocking pieces of your potential because you're turning into your authentic self. Also, remember that your potential isn't only about career or big public achievements. It could be reaching your potential as a parent or as a friend or as a community member. Maybe your potential is to be an amazing father who breaks the cycle of absent dads in your family. That is huge. Or your potential is to create art that moves people, or your potential is to run a marathon at 50. It's your potential. You define it. Once you have a sense of direction, even a rough idea, the next step is to take action. Potential without action just remains potential. So let's get into the actionable daily habits and strategies that will help you access and activate your own potential. Daily habits to unlock your potential, backed by science. Reaching your potential doesn't happen in one big leap. It happens through daily habits and choices that build momentum over time. Think of it like training for a sport or learning an instrument. Little by little, you build your skills and confidence. Here are some actionable, science-backed habits that you can start right away to unlock more of your potential. Number 1, start your day with intention. How you spend the first hour of your day can set the tone for everything. Instead of immediately looking at your phone or reacting to other people, Do something that aligns with your potential. This could be a morning workout to energize your body. It could be meditation to center your mind. It could be reading something inspiring or watching a video. For example, I like to go for a walk outside every day and put on one of the videos from my channel where I'm learning from a successful entrepreneur who's pushing me to be better. It might sound cheesy, but it primes your brain to focus on what matters. Research shows that a few minutes of positive visualizations or affirmations can boost motivation and reduce stress. The idea is to remind yourself every day of your vision and capabilities. You're essentially coaching yourself into a growth mindset every day. Number 2, schedule deep work on your passion. Set aside at least 30 to 60 minutes each day to work on your thing, the skill or project tied to your potential. Treat this time as sacred, like an appointment you cannot miss. If you want to be a writer, that's your writing time. If you want to get fit, that's your training time. In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about the power of tiny gains. He shares that if you get just 1% better each day, you'll be 37 times better in a year. So imagine that, 37 times better. That's the math of compounding. Your daily practice might feel small, but over months and years, it's huge. So carve out that focus time, even if it's 20 minutes at first. Consistency matters more than the duration. Consistency creates habits, and habits sustain progress even when your motivation dips. Number 3, create a growth journal. This isn't your teenage diary about crushes. This is a tool for growth. Each day, or at least a few times a week, journal about what you've done and what you've learned. Write down small wins and also any setbacks or fears that came up. Psychologists have found that journaling can improve clarity and emotional well-being. When it comes to potential, a journal helps you see patterns. Maybe you notice, every time I try to network, I feel like an imposter. That awareness lets you address the mindset. Or you write down, completed a chapter of my book today, and a week later you've seen that you've written 7 chapters. That builds confidence. Use the journal to also answer prompts like, what would I do today if I was operating at my full potential? Even if you don't do it yet, it trains your brain to think bigger. Number 4, surround yourself with growth. People and inputs. This is part habit and part environment. So you make it a habit to consume positive educational content daily, like you're doing right now. High five, let's go. Read books or watch videos by people who have done the things that you aspire to do. This keeps your mind in the game. Equally important, try to connect with at least one person who uplifts or challenges you regularly. It could be a phone call, an email, commenting in a community of like-minded people. There's a famous saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you consistently hang around growth-minded people, that attitude rubs off. Science backs this up. Habits and attitudes are contagious in social groups. For instance, research shows that if a close friend becomes obese, your own risk of obesity increases by 57%. And conversely, positive habits like healthy eating or striving for success can spread socially too. So deliberately infuse your social circle with people who push you towards your potential. If you lack such people in person, find virtual mentors and communities. The content you consume can act as your 5 people. Make sure your daily environment, which is your physical and your mental, is fertilizing your potential, not poisoning it. Number 5, embrace discomfort daily. This one's a bit tough, but it's golden. Every day, do something that stretches you just a little. It could be speaking up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. It could be reaching out to someone that you admire or trying a new skill that you feel super clumsy at. It doesn't have to be skydiving level crazy, right? Just enough to make you grow. We call this leaving your comfort zone. The more you do it, the easier it gets because you learn that discomfort will not kill you. In fact, it makes you stronger. Maybe you set a rule. 1 uncomfortable action per day. It can be tiny, like initiating a conversation or saying no to something you don't want to do. If you're a people pleaser, that's huge. It could be making your first YouTube video. Over time, these daily acts of courage accumulate into serious personal growth. You start seeing yourself as the kind of person who tries new things and conquers fears. That identity shift is key to accessing your potential. Remember, everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. So daily, give yourself a gentle push to the other side, even briefly. Those are the 5 habits to start with. So to recap quickly, 1, morning intention. Set the mindset for success. 2, deep work on your passion. Get 1% better each day. 3, growth journaling so you can learn about yourself. 4, positive environment. That's people and content that inspire you, like videos like this. And number 5, daily discomfort. Expand your comfort zone. You don't have to be perfect. If you miss a day, just restart the next day. Consistency beats intensity. I'd rather you do 20 minutes of deep work every day than 5 hours once a month. And don't try to change everything all at once. Maybe pick 2 habits from this list and implement it this week. Once those feel stable, Add in another. These habits are like the tools to dig into your potential. Each one chips away at the barriers that we talked about. They build the mindset, the skills, and the momentum that you need. The role of environment and mentors in your potential. I touched on environment and the habits, but let's dive in deeper here, including mentors, which is a hugely important factor. So environment. Imagine your potential is a seed of genius inside you. The environment is the soil, the water, the sunlight. In poor soil, even the greatest seeds struggle. So you want to curate an environment that nourishes you. This will include the people around you. As mentioned, surround yourself with those who actually uplift you. Limit your time with chronic naysayers or people who make you feel small. Sometimes this is hard. It could be family or old friends. And I'm not saying cut everyone off, but being mindful and set boundaries. Find communities, online or offline, that share your values and ambitions. Join a class, go to a club, an online forum, places where growth is encouraged. When you see others striving, it normalizes striving. When you see others achieving, it raises your belief in what's possible. Next is the physical environment, so small tweaks can help. Is your workspace or home set up to encourage productivity or creativity? Maybe you create a little corner for your deep work, free of any distractions. Put visual reminders of your goals, a vision board, or even just a sticky note with your one word on your mirror. Remove all the temptations that derail you, like if the TV distracts you every night, unplug it during the weekdays. Your surroundings should be a constant nudge towards your best self. Next is your mental environment. So what content do you consume? News and social media can be draining if it's not managed. So curate your feeds. Follow inspiring, informative sources. Mute all the toxic stuff. You want to marinate your brain in messages that reinforce growth. Some people even record themselves reading their goals or positive affirmations and play it back during the day. That's an idea. Basically, brainwash yourself for success. Studies show environment matters more than we realize. One famous study found that if one of your close friends makes a positive change, say starts exercising, your chance of improving your fitness goes up too, even if you don't realize it. We are social creatures. We unconsciously mirror those around us. So choose your tribe carefully. Choose a tribe that mirrors the future you, not the old you. Next is mentors. Now, mentors are a part of environment, but worth discussing alone. A mentor is someone a bit ahead of you on the path who can guide and encourage you. This could be formal or informal. It could be someone you meet with or even a virtual mentor whose content you devour. The value of a mentor is they provide two things: belief and knowledge. They often believe in your potential before you fully do, and they know the steps or pitfalls that you might face so they can steer you right. I can tell you in my journey, I had mentors I looked up to, like Steve Jobs for big picture vision or my own family members who supported me. Their guidance and just knowing someone has my back made a huge difference. So if you can, find a mentor in your field or someone who exemplifies what you want. It could start as simple as sending a message. Hey, I'm really inspired by what you do. Can I take you to coffee or ask you about your journey? Now, not everyone will say yes, but some will. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to share their advice when you approach respectfully and genuinely. Mentorship can dramatically accelerate accessing your potential. There's data on this. In the corporate world, people with mentors are promoted 5 times more often than those without. 5 times. Even if your goals aren't corporate, it shows how mentorships unlock opportunities. A mentor can spot your blind spots, keep you accountable, and open doors for you. Now, if you don't have a mentor yet, start by being a great mentee candidate. Be eager to learn, show initiative, and don't expect them to do the work for you. You can also mentor up by sharing your journey publicly. When people see you working hard, a potential mentor might actually approach you to offer help. It's happening to me and others I know. One more thing. Don't forget peer mentors. People at your level who are also growth-minded can mentor each other. So maybe you form a mastermind group, a small group that meets weekly to monthly, shares goals and progress. That mutual support is hugely motivating. So to bring it all together, craft your environment and relationships to pull out your best. You want to be in places where physical or virtual that make you feel energized and capable. You want people in your life who say, why not you? Go for it, rather than, that's risky, are you sure? And you want guides who have been there to reassure that you're on the right path and to push you when you need a push. If you handle environment and mentors right, you're stacking the deck in favor of your potential instead of against it. Busting the perfect time myth. Start now, not someday. Now let's address a mindset that kills potential, perhaps more than anything. Waiting for the perfect time. We've all done this. I will pursue my dream when I'm more secure, when I have permission, when the stars align magically, right? Listen, it will never feel like the perfect time. Life is messy. There will always be something that isn't ideal, whether it's time, money, age, experience. The people who access their potential aren't the ones who had zero challenges. They're the ones who started despite their challenges. I love this quote by Sir Richard Branson. He said, "If somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later." That mentality is gold. You throw yourself in and figure it out on the way. This is how you grow fast. Think about it. How did we learn as kids? We weren't like, I'm not going to try to walk until I'm certain I won't fail. We just tried. We fell on our butts. We tried again. As adults, we become self-conscious and risk-averse, and that stops us from even starting. One technique you can use is the 5-second rule from friend of the channel, Mel Robbins. If you have an impulse to act towards your goal, like the thought, I should write an outline for that book, or I should sign up for that course, you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and physically move or do something to start. This prevents your brain from taking you out of it. It sounds trivial, but it's backed by science that it interrupts procrastination patterns. Try it. It might help you in those critical make or break moments of starting. And another strategy, shrink the action. If you find yourself saying, now is not the right time, challenge that by doing a tiny version of it right now. Not ready to start a company? This afternoon, just sketch a one-page business idea. Not ready to go run a marathon? Go jog 5 minutes around the block today. Procrastination loves big, vague plans, so make them small and concrete to get going. Once you start, you'll often realize it's not as scary as you thought, or you gain info that helps you move forward. And let me be clear, starting now doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow or making a reckless move. It simply means take some action now. Do what you can with what you have. As you take action, you'll gain clarity and momentum, which will enable bigger actions. There's a proverb. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. You may wish you started earlier on your goals. Okay, you didn't, and that's fine. The next best option is today. Not next year, not even next week, today. After this video, do something that future you will thank you for. You might also feel, but I'm not ready. I'm not good enough yet. No one is 100% ready or good enough at the start. You become good enough by doing. Remember, your potential is accessed through growth, and growth comes from action, not idle thinking. The first draft is never perfect, but you can't edit a blank page. So bust that myth of perfect timing. Now is the perfect time, because it's the only time that actually exists. The sooner you start, the sooner you ramp up towards your potential. Even if it's just baby steps, start stepping. How momentum unlocks your potential. Let's talk about momentum, because once you start, you want to keep going. Momentum is like an upward spiral. Small wins lead to confidence, which leads to bigger actions, which create bigger wins, and so on. It's the opposite of the downward spiral of procrastination. Think of a train. From a dead stop, a train takes huge energy to get moving at all. But once it's moving, it can smash through obstacles. Your journey to your potential is similar. The hardest part is that initial push, but then you get a bit of momentum. Maybe your first YouTube video, your first client, your first 5 pounds lost, whatever it is. That win gives you momentum. The key is to celebrate those small wins and use them as fuel. You can keep a win log. It could be in your journal or a note on your phone. Every day, note at least one thing you did that you're proud of, even if it's tiny. You went to the gym even though you were tired. You shared your poetry on social media. You asked your boss for more responsibility at work. These are victories. When you acknowledge them, you reinforce the identity of someone who is growing and achieving. Over time, these wins start to stack up, and then something magical happens. Your belief in yourself grows. I believe that the world's biggest problem is that people don't believe in themselves. Lack of belief is what causes people to settle. But when you start getting momentum, you start to truly believe, hey, maybe I can do this. That belief propels you to take on bigger challenges that really stretch your potential. There's research by Harvard's Teresa Amabile called the progress principle. She found that nothing is more motivating to people at work than making progress in meaningful tasks, even small progress. It boosts emotion and performance. I think this applies to personal goals too. Each step forward gives you a jolt of motivation to take the next step. So protect your momentum. Even on rough days, do a little something so you don't break the chain. Momentum is also about consistency over intensity. So we touched on habits. It's better to be the tortoise than the hare in the long run. When you consistently invest in yourself, the results compound. Remember that 1% better concept? It works both ways. If you let yourself get 1% worse, which is less capable, more complacent each day, in a year, you'll practically hit zero progress. Yikes! So even maintaining momentum during tough times is crucial. Here's a trick. When you feel momentum is slipping, like you miss a few days of practice and you start feeling bad, restart immediately with a tiny win. Don't wait to feel 100% again. Do the smallest possible action. That can catch you before you slide too far. Also, surround yourself with reminders of how far that you've actually come. Maybe an old photo of you when you were just getting started compared to right now. Or keep tokens of achievement, certificates, a thank you note somebody sent you for helping them. These remind you that you're not the person stuck at the starting line anymore. You're already on the journey. You're moving. The beautiful thing about momentum is that it creates a sense of inevitability. At some point, with enough momentum, you'll start thinking, it's not if I reach my goals, it's when. That's a sign you fully tapped into your potential mindset. You'll carry yourself differently and others will notice too, attracting even more support and opportunities. So focus on getting that first push, which you're hopefully motivated to do now. Then keep feeding the fire. Even a small consistent breeze can keep a windmill turning. In your case, keep those actions and habits turning and you'll generate an unstoppable energy towards your goals. Your potential is waiting. It's time to act. We've covered a lot. What potential is, why we get blocked, how to identify your unique path, daily habits that get you going, leveraging your environment and mentors, not waiting for permission, and using momentum to your advantage. Now I want to bring it home strong. All this knowledge means nothing if you don't use it. I want you to picture something. Visualize the you that has accessed their potential, the best you. What does that look like? What does it feel like? Maybe you see yourself being confident, being healthy, doing work that you love, surrounded by great people, making a huge impact. Hold that image. That is possible. In fact, if you take away one thing from this video at all, let it be this. Your potential is real and reachable, but only if you choose to act on it. Nobody can want it for you more than you want it for yourself. I started this video with a question from my Zab, worried that maybe the world is designed to keep you average. And yeah, the world will keep you average if you let it. But you can design your own world in which to thrive. You now have some of the tools to do that. It's not going to be easy. I'm not here to give you just some motivational speech, pretend that it's all rainbows. There will be hard days. There will be setbacks. Self-doubt creeps in. But remember, every hero's journey has obstacles. Those obstacles are actually what makes you grow. When you hit one, don't think, oh, maybe this means I have no talent. No, it's a test, or better, a training exercise. Use what you've learned. Lean on your mentor or your community. Consult your journal to see how you overcame the last month's hurdles. Revisit your one word or purpose to reignite your why and take the next small step. And please, celebrate along the way. You're not just chasing some far-off destiny. You're living your life today. Every step in your potential is a life well lived today. Like Bronnie Ware's regrets of the dying taught us, life is too short to live on someone else's terms or to play small. I'd rather you try and maybe fail at some grand vision than succeed at being mediocre. Because even if you fail, you'll be proud you gave it your all and you'll learn more than if you never tried. I'll share a personal thought. One of the most fulfilling feelings in the world is seeing someone realize they're capable of more than they ever thought. That aha moment when a client or a viewer like you, does something they once dreamed impossible, that lights me up. And I want that for you. I want you to surprise yourself with what you can do. So here's my challenge. Do something within the next 24 hours that moves you towards your potential. It can be anything. It can be something big, it can be something small, but do it. Information alone won't change your life. Action will. If you're feeling bold, comment below what action you're going to take or what potential you're going to unlock. Declare it. Make it real. You might inspire someone else with your commitment. Remember, you have greatness inside you. It's not a question of if it's there. It's a question of whether you will bring it out. You've got to believe that. And if you don't fully believe in yourself yet, know that I believe in you. And so do many others too. So borrow that belief until you have your own. And as I've said many, many times, I believe that everyone has Michael Jordan level talent at something. Find that thing and start practicing. The world actually needs you to step up. There's someone out there who will only be inspired or helped from your example. Your potential isn't just about you. It's about all the lives that you could touch. So you spent this time watching this video, which tells me that you're serious about this. So now go and do. Even if it's a little bit today and a little bit more tomorrow. You'll look back in a year from now amazed at how far that you've come. Accessing your potential is one of the greatest journeys you can ever embark on. It's a journey of becoming more you than ever. It takes courage and persistence, but I promise you, nothing feels better than knowing you're becoming who you were born to be. Your future self is waiting, cheering for you. Don't disappoint them. Go make that call, write that page, record that video, hit that gym, say the affirmation, apply for that program, whatever it is for you, start acting on it. I'm rooting for you, and I know you can do it. Now get out there, take your first step, and keep going. The world needs what you've got, and I want to see you living at your fullest. Let's go. Believe.
And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. To learn how to forget motivation and just do these 11 boring habits, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. Motivation is overrated. It's a fake friend that shows up when things are exciting and then disappears the minute work gets tough. We've been taught to chase that fired up feeling, but those who win